Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Come on in. It's Wednesday night. It's Untethered Live. It's a chill stream. I'm your host, Jake Johnson. Tonight, I'm going to tell you that this random certainty is my literal metaphor. Right here. You don't want to miss it. It's a wonderful week. How's yours going? It's Wednesday and I'm still alive. Jesus. Right? Amy's first in chat. Hello, Amy. How are you? Amy says, hello, Untethered Live family. Hope everyone is having a positive, productive day. Yes, that's the kind of energy you want to come out swinging with. It's fantastic. Always put your best foot forward and aim for a positive, productive day. That's wonderful. Hats off to you. Here's a cup. That was hot. You get the gold star for being first in chat tonight. John's right behind you. He says, hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing good. The other night working, I had a blowout or a blowback cleaning drains. That doesn't sound good. He says, I look like a black and white minstrel. Did you have the big red lips too? It's terrifying. Are you okay? Did you get any in your mouth? I have questions.
Is it identifiable?
Right? What happens when you have a blowback from a drain that you're cleaning? Are you wearing a face mask? Or you have a hazmat suit on? Did you get it all over you? Like inside your clothes? Is there enough bleach in Britain to wash that off? Amanda says, Amy, here's your gold star, hon. Congratulations. And
hi, Amy and Nugget. You read that. That's your job.
Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. Happy hump day, camel, camel. No, you're supposed to say that. So I can say camel, camel.
Happy hump day.
Camel, camel. Come on.
Oh, you want me to finish it?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope everybody is doing good. Hi, Jake. How are you tonight?
Wonderful. That's why I bought the extra microphone, so that you could talk. Kevin says, hello, Jake, Amanda, Amy, and John. Hey, Kev. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well, sir.
My chat jumped.
It's at Hi, Kev.
Oh, hi, Kevin.
Amy says, hi, Amanda, John, Kevin, and Jake. Hi. She said hi to you, too.
Oh, hi, Amy.
Did you smoke pot before the show?
No. My chat jumped.
Addie's here. She says, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing up in here today? It's Patty on Wesley's phone. Hi, Patty on Wesley's phone. We're doing good up in here today. How are you doing down in there today?
What's going to be funny is when Wesley comes in and say it's Wesley on Patty's phone.
That would be weird. It'd be like a Matrix type universe.
Right.
Universe shattering event. Patty and Wesley in the same chat on different phones. Have we met Wesley?
He was here one night with her.
Seems like I remember that. I have met many people, so I'm not sure, but it seems like I remember. Many. Amy says, be careful, John. Don't overdo it. And also, don't smile. You'll get it in your teeth. Yeah. Blah. Amy says, hi, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
And then my chat jumped.
Patty says, hi, ladies. 8:30.
I see it. And Patty says, we are feeling cooler weather here. It's about dang time. It has been so hot in the past week. I don't actually recall the temperature today. I was working so hard I never even noticed. But it was definitely hot yesterday.
And it's a little bit better here too, Patty, because of Hurricane Aaron.
You make me want to drink
Why?
coffee. Drink coffee.
And here's the Facebook page, Untethered Live Family Chillin'.
Thank you. Don't you want to have a cup of coffee with me? Don't interrupt. If you do, go to the kitchen, pour up your nice cup of coffee, and let's get this party started. If you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. But we also have tumblers down there, stainless steel with locking lids, Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front, and they hold your coffee nice and hot, so it's good purchase. Also, anything else you want down there, a hat or a T-shirt or a shower curtain, sticker, a glove, one glove, two gloves, a bag, we can do it. Whatever you want. Like, subscribe, share, support, join. Super chats are available in the chat box if you want to show a little bit of love. If you want to, you can do that right there, or hit that Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. I greatly appreciate that very much. And one more thing, Amanda.
What? Oh, the Facebook page?
Yeah.
There's our Facebook page link in the description. Untethered Live Facebook Family Chillin'. I can't think tonight.
Facebook.com/UntetheredLiveChillin'.
Yes, that.
It's the place you want to be. It is fantastic. It has great memes. The ladies are killing it. It's a good place to hang out and share pictures, videos, texts, and chats and get to know one another. And you won't regret it. It's free. It's another place for you to get together, and it's yours. So go check that out. And Fab Daddy's here. And then he says, message retracted. What the hell, man? I can't read it if you retract it. Amy says, like, share, and invited some friends. Also, like, share, and invite some friends. Thank you, Amy. Amanda says, hi, Fab. Sorry.
Hi, Fab.
We can't get it together for nothing. She smokes pot and I'm stoned.
Whatever. I didn't get a nap tonight.
I didn't either. Fab Daddy says, I hate when people say, you don't need pot for a good time. You don't need shoes to run, but it helps. True. Actually, it doesn't. It hinders. Feet are designed to run. They have this ball to heel to ball kind of action that they do. And when you wear shoes, it causes you to put your foot down in the wrong direction. And it actually hinders your running ability. You're supposed to lean forward and spring off of your toes, not heel to toe. You're actually supposed to run flat foot to toe and then push off from your toe. But when you have shoes on, you go heel to toe, and that actually causes damage and vibration throughout your bones, and it shocks your spinal cord, and you're in the wrong position to move forward. So wearing shoes actually hurts running. That's a bad metaphor. And also pot actually hurts the way you think. So if you have a good time with not being able to think, then by all means enjoy your pot. But I like my brain.
LOL, Fab.
Linda Davis is here. She says, hi, Amanda, Amy, Patty, Kevin, John, and Jake Hart. Well,
Hi.
Hart back at you, Linda.
Hi, Linda, hun.
Rich S is here. What's up, Rich? Nice to see you, my brother. Rich says hi. Bill Bennett's here. Woof, 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 woof. Bill in the house. Bill says, what's up, untethered peeps? Bilbo in the house, LOL. Bilbo? Like as in Baggins? Bilbo Baggins? Or Dildo Daggins?
I had to read that twice.
That's a B, honey. It's a Bilbo. Walter Davis is here. He says, good evening, all. Walter, nice to see you, my brother. How are you? What's going on a Wednesday night? I'm raising my voice for no apparent reason.
Just so you'll lose it faster.
And John says, black face and white eyes. Oh, I know what minstrel means. I ask if you had the red lips, too.
Hi, Rich and Bill and Walter.
Amy says, hi, Fab, and hello, Bill B. Bilbo. Bill Bennett. Bilbo. I get it. I see where it's coming from. I like it. Just take me a minute to get used to, that's all. Because every time you say Bilbo, I think of hairy big feet on a little tiny person. Don't ask me why. Linda Davis says, hi, Bill, Fab, and Rich. And Amy says, hi, Rich and Walter. And Linda says, hi, Walter. And Fab Daddy says, yesterday I watched Total Blackout Painting do a live show. Remember him, Jake? I do. I posted his paintings for quite a while. I helped get him launched. He's quite the interesting painter. When you see him, tell him I said hello and continued success. If you get a chance to talk to him. He's probably way bigger than us now anyway. You'd think he'd come donate to the show or something. Amy says, hey, Linda, kissy face. And Debbie's here. She says, hello, everyone. Hi, Debbie, dear. Hello, Debbie, dearest. Dolly, Debbie, dearest, darling.
Hi.
Damn it.
Hi, Debbie. You on a roll tonight, Jake.
I know, right? I'm killing it. Linda says, hi, Debbie. Amy says, or maybe it's Wesley pretending to be Patty, pretending to be Wesley pretending to be Patty, pretending to be Wesley, pretending to be Patty on Wesley's phone, pretending to not have Patty's phone and Wesley's phone, Patty.
Okay.
Amy says, I'm a dude pretending to be another dude who's pretending to be another dude. I'm a dude playing a dude pretending to be another dude. I know who I am. I don't drop character till the credits roll on the DVD. Commentary. And Debbie says, I knew you were a dude, Amy. Funny enough, a dude is a little hangy-downy thing that sticks to an elephant's ass when he takes a crap.
That's a dingleberry.
It's a dude.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's called a dude, too, isn't it?
Yes.
No, isn't a dude a whale's penis?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I think it's called a dude.
Might be. I'm sure somebody came up with that.
I'm looking.
A dingleberry is when a dude does it. When an elephant does it, it's a dude.
A dork is a whale's penis.
Dork, yes. Lord, this is what you pay for. Programming at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing more entertaining on the internet anywhere. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Amy says, smiley, smiley. And hey, pickles.
I'm tired tonight. LOL, I didn't get a nap. It kept me awake.
You don't have to read it if you said it. Just say it.
I did.
You tripped up on LOL and sounded like you were reading it, which is a pet peeve.
No, I just glanced over at it to make sure I was on the right sentence.
All right, I understand. I do it all the time, and I am not good at it. I'm just trying to help you understand that you're talking to people, so talk to them. Just talk to them. Just say hello. If you wrote it down, that's because you thought it. Like if you were standing here with me, you'd have said it. So say it. That's all I'm saying. Amy says, it's only $2 a month to be a member. Yeah. I would prefer the $5 a month, but the $2 works too. It's there. It is an option. It's the same thing. You'll get it the same thing either way. And by the way, have you watched any of the Hyperboles and what did you think? And Amy says, everything in moderation, Fab. Yes, including moderation. You don't want to overdo moderation either because then you don't ever experience anything. And as you all know, the mind is a vehicle that is fueled by experience. It flourishes, it flowers when it has had a chance to experience a thing and digest it. So you literally were built to be a show me type person. That's how the brain works. That's how it gets better and gets bigger and retains more and does more and has more functionality. The brain is plastic, so the more you add to it, the more it grows. People like me, musicians, I mean, not retards, people like me actually have a lobe on the brain that other people do not have. And I don't mean every musician. I mean musicians like me in particular. I see music. I don't hear it, right? I have a different relationship with music than other people. Some people call that perfect pitch or relative pitch. Perfect pitch is when you can instantaneously recognize a note anywhere on the spectrum. I cannot do that. But if you play a note and tell me what it is, the minute I hear that note, that's a reference point. Then I can pick any other note on the spectrum and tell you what it is from that note while I'm listening. So that's called relative pitch. That means that my brain interprets music a different way than other people who just hear music. So I actually have a lobe that other people don't have. It's an extra lobe. You can look into this. It's actually quite an interesting study. Nobody actually knows where this adaptation comes from. It's a unique trait that's only in about 3% of the world's population, last time I checked. It's kind of interesting. Mozart was one of those guys. That's why he could play music even though he couldn't hear, because he could feel it, see it, and he had a different relationship with it, so he could produce it knowing what it would sound like even though he couldn't hear it. I don't know what I was getting at. Just bragging for the sake of bragging, I guess. There was a point, I just forgot what it was. John says, sounds like bong time. Bong. Yeah, I mean, if it does it for you, man, I like to think. And when I smoke pot, thinking happens, but not in the way I want it to. First of all, my inner monologue gets really loud. So loud that I think other people can hear it. And I'm suspicious. I'm like watching to see if anybody's going to respond to what I just thought about. It makes me paranoid, and my body panics because I do not relax. I'm not a relaxing type of guy. I'm very high strung. So when I smoke pot, I freak out. I can't take it. I can't handle the mellow, I guess. And it lasts forever. It never goes away. And like 3 days later, I can still taste that taste in the back of my throat and feel like I'm about to be high. I don't like it. It's not my thing. I have no desire to smoke pot or even smell it. But there are people out there who would tell you that I'm a drug addict, even though I'm not. I mean, I can't stand cocaine, but I love the way it smells. Debbie says, don't Bogart Mary Jane, Amanda. Don't Bogart that joint. Amy says, Nugget, next chill stream can be called Bongs and Dongs. That would get viewers. You think so? I might. I'd do that. I'll do it. Friday night. I'll write that down so I don't forget. Bongs and Dongs. What am I going to call all the ladies that are in here? Not like it's a sausage party in here.
Kitty kitties.
Kitty kitties?
Bongs, dongs, and kitties.
Bongs, dongs, and kitties. Okay.
Or cats.
I like kitties better. It's more
I do
feminine. Sue Woods is here. Hello, Susie Cute. How are you? Sue says, hello, everyone.
Hi, Sue.
Amy says, hey, Susie. Heart. Sue says, I got some exciting news. I'm waiting with bated breath. What is it? Sorry, there's a worm. Bated breath. John says, Amy, smiley, smiley, smiley. And Sue says, hi, Amy. And Patty says, Mr. Bill. Mr. Bill. Sue says, hi, Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Sue. I'd already said hi, Sue.
Yeah, but then she said hi to you.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. My bad. Hi, Sue.
Amy says, what's the news, Susie Hughes? And Linda says, hi, Sue. What's new? And Bill says, nickname my dad got in the 70s. And somehow it passed on to me. All my old friends call me Bilbo. I know how you feel. My dad used to be called Egghead because he wore a hard hat, a white hard hat. And they called him Egghead. And when I went to work at the power plant when I was 14, they started calling me Little Egg. Little Egg. So I had to write Little Egg on my hard hat and walk around with that nickname for like 4 years. I hated it. But I was a recognizable character and everybody knew who I was. So that was something. Little Egg. That's me. Bill Bennett says, I read that one. Sue says, next year in late May, I'm going to be visiting my friend in England. Nice. I'm going to get to see London, and we're going to go to Paris too. Nice. Bring a mask. Not the N95 kind of mask, the kind with the filter, because it stinks in Paris. And I don't want you to ruin the romantic view that you have of Paris in your mind. So, wear a mask. That is exciting news. I would love to go traveling to London and Paris and France and Italy and Ireland and Scotland and Egypt and Jerusalem, you name it. I'd like to go all the way down from Samaria through and all of those places.
Not Ireland. Rosie O'Donnell's there.
Well, the country's nice. Doesn't mean all the people are. Donald Trump has a big golf course there. I could stay there. What's the number?
844.
844. Well, that's great news, Sue. I'm proud for you. Amy says, a fire truck drove by, lights and sirens. I wonder if a student accidentally tripped a fire alarm again. It happens this time of year. It might not have been an accident. They might do it just for kicks. Amy says, that's awesome news, Sue. Yes, it is. And Linda says, that's awesome, Sue. Yes, it is. And Patty says, that's great, Miss Sue. I want to go to London someday. I think we should all just go pile up at John's house. He's there. Fab Daddy says, I mentioned your name. He was reviewing a Baroque painter, Caravaggio, and reading from the Bible. Well, interesting. Did he remember me? Howie Richardson says, hello, everyone. Hello, Howie. Welcome to the show. Who are you? Where are you from? And what do you want to talk about, my friend? Dude, hair on a horse's ass, says Bill. Sue says, she told me about a neat pub in her village where our soldiers who were stationed there during WW2 wrote their names on the walls. I really want to see that. That sounds like a fun place to hang out. Yeah, there was a lot of that going on in those days at bars. A lot of soldiers hanging out at bars because they didn't really have anything to do or anywhere to go, or they didn't know anybody. So they just congregated at the local pub. Bob's your uncle. You got a instant community. A lot of that was going on in Vietnam, too. Of course, they were mating with the locals quite regularly. So there's a lot of mostly American Vietnamese kids running around circa 1960, 68. Bill Bennett says, question mark? What? A dude on a horse's, a hair on a horse's ass? Could be. I think it's an elephant, but it could be a horse. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. Wilbur. Give me an apple. Linda Davis says, welcome, Howie. And Amy says, Howie, you made it. Welcome, my friend. Oh, you're Amy's friend. Well, welcome, any friend of Amy's. Will eventually get introduced to us. And Debbie says, sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to call you an elephant. Did you? Where'd that come from?
Hi, Howie. Welcome.
Howie, did you bring us any pizza? Or a glove to put on our head? Or a lei? I'm reaching. Something. Howie says, hi, Amy. Sorry I had a seizure earlier this week, and I'm still sore and my tongue hurts since I bit it during the seizure. Well, that's terrible, Howie. Jesus, man. That's a hell of a thing to tell somebody you don't know. I hope you're doing better. And please rest your tongue. It's wonderful that we have a chat so you can type and it won't hurt your tongue unless you're, of course, typing with your tongue, which would be odd. But don't do that. It would hurt. Debbie says, oops, an elephant's hanging poop nugget. Right on. Nugget or nugget. That's a double entendre. It could go both ways. A hanging poop nugget or a hanging poop nugget. Nugget. I'm having a good time with words tonight. Amy says, oh no, Howie, that's horrible. It is horrible. Howie says, I got some extra mouthwash to prevent infections from happening. Probably a smart move. Fab Daddy says, man, I hope you feel better soon, Howie. Yeah, that's terrible, buddy. I'm making light only because that's how I handle tragedy. But I am sorry that you have to go through that, and you're in our prayers. Amy says, who's taking care of the goats, Howie? Howie, do you have goats? Do you have the goats that fall over when you scare them? Oh, I want a goat like that. I want to watch them faint. That's hilarious. Howie says, people seem surprised that I'm a Journey fan for being millennial. Well, Journey's a good band. That's not surprising at all. It would be surprising if you were a David Allan Coe fan being a millennial. That's surprising. Do you know who David Allan Coe is? Howie says, my older brother's friend is tending to the goats. Goat representation is important. April Rain's here. She says, hi to all. Loves and hugs. Good to see you, Jake, and everyone. Thumbs up, prayers, and hearts in a circle. Hello, April Rain. How are you, sweet lady? How is your week going?
Hi, April.
April says, hi, lovely Amanda. Good to see you.
Good to see me, but she doesn't answer my text messages and my calls or nothing.
How come you ain't answering text messages and calls or nothing? Amy says, Howie, you should check out the kitty cat videos on this channel. Oh, yeah, I got a lot of kitty cat videos. And some motorcycle kitty cat videos. And some kitty cat motorcycle videos. And some videos that don't have either one of those. April says, LOL, Jake. And Amy says, hi, April. April says, hi, Amy. Lovely. Good to see you. How are you? Howie says, thanks, Fab Daddy. As do I. I get medical weed for my epilepsy. Oh, bonus. Nice. Do you get the good stuff, or is it like the grade A stuff that they sell at the vape shops?
You know, he gets the good stuff.
You get the kind of stuff that'll turn you into a lizard, huh? Nice. I learned that from Cheech and Chong. Do you know who they are? Another thing that would be surprising for a millennial. Although they did have a comeback recently. They did make a new movie, a new Cheech and Chong movie, so you might know who they are. But I'm from way back when they were making movies on the down low.
When they were young.
Mm-hmm. Rich S says, anyone play Powerball tonight? Can't say that I have. Rich, how does that go?
It's a lottery.
Yeah, I understand that. I just don't know how to play it.
I think you pick like 6 numbers, and then the Powerball number is another number. And
well, that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it very slim chance of winning.
And people pay to do this?
Lots of money, hundreds of dollars.
Why?
Because the poll gets up to millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, but how many numbers are there?
I think 6 or 7, might be 5 in the 8 or 5 in the Powerball.
And they're double-digit numbers?
Single to double, yeah.
Yeah, there's literally one chance in hell that you'll win.
That's what I'm saying.
You'd have better chance of getting struck by lightning while skateboarding.
You'd have better chance putting all that money in scratch-off tickets.
Or saving it, and then at the end of the year buying a Corvette or something.
Right?
April says, Rich, I wish I could. Play Powerball? Why? Did you not hear what I just said about skateboards?
April's a gambler, remember?
Oh,
Scratch off tickets and all.
Fab Daddy says, Howie Rick Simpson oil. Penny apple shovel shelf. Your turn. What it is? What's up, buddy? He says hello to all in Untethered Live land. Hey, what's up? What it is? Nice to see you. Never mind the aberration behind me. That's just a shadow. Howie says, my cat Uno turns 1 tomorrow. Nice. That is what Uno means.
Hi, what is it?
What it is, what it is.
What is it?
What it is, what it is.
I can read.
It is what it is. What it is, what it is. What it is says, what's up, little egg? I hear you. Howie Richards says, maybe I can post kitten pics on that page. You absolutely can. Bring it on. That's what that page is for. If you're referring to the Facebook page, I don't think you can post pics on the YouTube page because that's a me thing, but we do have a Facebook page, and you are more than welcome to post your kitty cat or any other kind of cat or dog or goat or whatever you got right over there.
I'll just put another link in the chat if he wants it.
Yes, please do. John says, I am so proud of the British people this week. Thousands and thousands of people are putting the Union Jack out all over the country as a protest against the government trying to take our history away. I don't know anything about Union Jack, but I'll supportively fly that flag in your honor. Metaphorically, because I don't have one. But if I had one, I would fly it. Union Jack. There's been a rash of governors and leaders trying to take freedoms away from several countries around the world. All of the Western ones anyway. All of the Eastern ones already have no freedoms, but all of the Western ones are trying to become the Eastern ones, and it's not good. And thank God cooler heads are prevailing and people are starting to stand up. I have been noticing a trend this year. People are getting kind of tired of this nonsense, and hopefully it's enough to sway the attention of the leaders back in the other direction and get away from this socialism stuff that's been going on for the past decade and a half. Because if not, we will all lose what we have, and it's a good thing. We don't need to lose a good thing. Amy says, I remember when one was born, Howie. Uno was born. Amy says, hi, what it is? And April says, hi, Fab Daddy, Sue, Linda, what it is, Rich, John, Debbie, Howie, comma, good to see you. All hugs. And Bill, good to see you too. Thank you, thank you. And then my chat jumped.
8:55.
8:55. Did you hear that bass note? I nailed it. Down low. Howie says, yep. And Ethel is also doing well, and Keanu is doing well. Still get Lucky Ethel on one hand. Sorry, still got Lucky Ethel only had Uno. All right. I'm guessing those are cats or goats. Ethel sounds like a goat. Keanu sounds like a cat. I'm not sure. Fab Daddy says, lots of cool people here tonight. Yes, there are, Fab Daddy. You're one of them. How are you? April says, I'd love to see Ireland and Scotland, as would I. What it is says, make sure you speak proper English in the UK. Right on. John says, I don't speak English. I live in England. What do you call it? What it is says, I bet Rosie O'Donnell pees on Trump's golf course and kills the grass, leaving spots all over. I would pay money to see the, security footage of her doing that. That would be funny. Put it to that yakety sax. Her running around peeing everywhere. That'd be funny. Yakety sax. Yakety yak.
Yep, yakety yak.
Yakety yak. Don't talk back. Don't talk back. April says, yes, there is. Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe, join, share, support. Much love all over the place. $ Jake Johnson Band on CashApp. Heart. Thank you, April. Yes, there is what? You always start a sentence out of left field. I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about? Yes, there is. What's the last thing you said? Patty, lovely, good to see you. The next thing you said is, yes, there is. Emphatically. Howie says, I'm from Pennsylvania. If you get the chance, look up Lake Raystown or Rayston. I live near that lake. Cool. We got some friends here near Pennsylvania. And John says, you're all welcome at my house. Thank you, John. You're welcome at mine too, sir. If I ever make it over the sea, over the pond, I'll make sure to drop by and have a cup with you.
Except for Jake's not getting on a plane or in a boat. Oh.
Not these days, I'm not. I've been watching things fall off of airplanes for the last 2 years. I ain't getting on one. I saw a plane that didn't leave the runway and somehow flipped over. I mean, it was going this way and then bam, it flipped over. How do you do that? Did she hit a pothole? I mean, I know how you do it. You hire a female pilot. That's neither here nor there. But the plane flipped over. Have you ever seen a plane flip over? Mind you, it was not in the air. I don't know how they did that. Not qualified. Debbie says, I might be the only one here that has no desire to leave the USA or go more than 200 miles from my house. I hear you. I don't really have any desire. There's some places I'd love to see, but not at the expense of me actually traveling to go see it. I don't really want to go anywhere either. But I would definitely love to go like to the places I've studied all my life, because I've studied them all my life. I mean, I know Egypt better than the people that live in Egypt, and I've never been there. I would love to see it in person instead of just looking at pictures. April says, LOL, smiley face. And what it is says, let's talk about finding an asshole for a hobby horse. Well, if you hear somebody say, hey, hobby horse, you're an asshole, and you look to the left and you don't see an asshole, and you look to the right and you don't see an asshole, you found it. You're the asshole on a hobby horse. Does a hobby horse have a wooden penis? Yes, he does. That's the answer. I tried. April says, ha, ha, ha. Amy says, I wonder if Aaron is working or is he lurking? Well, I spoke to him earlier this afternoon about 5:30, somewhere in that area. And I didn't ask what he was doing, but he was talking, so he's alive. He might be lurking. He does do that sometimes.
Sorry. He's hiding in the background.
Aaron, if you're here, smile.
Right. I was just going to say smile. We love you, Aaron.
And Fab Daddy says, what it is, hobby horse is just a stick with a horse's head, right? No, that's a riding horse. A hobby horse is a horse that you put on your desk, that you carved out of a piece of wood. It's the hobby. You carve the horse. I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why are you listening to me? You shut up. You're fat. Howie says, LOL. I've heard of that restaurant. I've known Amy for a while from the other streams. What restaurant? Allison's restaurant? You can get anything that you want down at Allison's restaurant.
Hey, Jake.
What?
Fab Daddy's right.
Is he?
Yes, it's a horse's head with on a stick.
That's not a hobby horse.
That's what it's showing as a hobby horse.
That's wrong. A hobby horse is a horse that you carve. Well, that horse that's on a stick is for kids to play like they're riding a horse.
Yeah, hobby horse. At least it's not a jalapeno on a stick.
It might be called a hobby horse. They might have named it that. But a hobby horse is a horse that is the hobby. You're carving a horse. There may be a product named hobby horse, but a hobby horse is a wooden horse. The whole horse. And it's a hobby because you're making it. He might be right though. There may be a product called hobby horse. I don't know. But that's a toy that kids play with. They put it between their legs and jump around. Mm-hmm. There's actually a Olympic sport for riding those things.
Yeah, it says a hobby horse, also known as a stick horse.
I sit corrected. And Sue says, I'm cleaning rugs and sweeping floors. That would be a good thing to do. April says, I don't know, Amy. Maybe both. Is there a conversation going on that I'm not aware of?
You're thinking of a Dala horse or a Dala horse.
Maybe both what, April? Oh, Aaron lurking or at work. Got it. That was a disconnected connection. I had to think about that one. Fab Daddy says, hobby horse belt holds the stick for you. Okay. Howie says, nope. But I know who Benny Hill is, and my cat got her name from the series I Love Lucy. Nice. Hey, Lucy, I'm home. I used to watch that show as a kid. And the Honeymooners. I like the Honeymooners. Anybody remember the honeymooners? One of these days, Alice, pow, right in the kisser. Sue says, I hear April Rain, and I start singing her name to the tune of Purple Rain. April Rain, April Rain. I see it. It's nice. She likes that song, too. What it is says, it's all about how you do the alphabet and learn how to roll your R's when you turn in your homework. Wink, wink. Right on. Yeah, especially if it's a female teacher. You roll them R's just right, you'll get a straight A. But you have to do it in private because they don't like to tell people that sort of thing. April says, hey, Jake and Amanda, I'm sorry I slept the day away. Seriously, I needed the rest, I suppose. I'll check the messages, Amanda. Sorry, hon.
I'll let you live this time, April.
And Howie says, good, good, excellent. All right. Amy says, me too, Susie. Me too, Susie Q. April says, oh, that's cool, Sue. I love that song. See, I told you she liked it. And Howie says, yep, my mom is the reason why I know them as well as the Blazing Saddles movies. I like the Blazing Saddle movie. That's a good movie, and it 100% could not be made today, but I couldn't imagine it not being made. That was right on time, that movie. It's so powerful in its comedy and its ability to call out things that are happening in the world and make fun of it and make everybody look silly for their behaviors. And Mel Brooks is a master of that, and I love all Mel Brooks movies. My favorite one is Spaceballs, but I like all of them. Sue says Powerball is illegal in Nevada. Yeah, I would imagine the casinos don't want them on their action. What it is says, I still have to sort the seeds out. I must be buying the wrong stuff. You're buying it with shake. Baby shake. Shake, baby shake. By the way, did you guys know that on the 16th of this month is the anniversary? August 16th is when Elvis Presley died. And I'd like to take a moment just to recognize the king. And what a loss the world experienced when they lost him. No one ever was or ever will be like that guy, that have what that guy had, wield the power that guy wielded, and it was no accident. What an amazing man he was. I've been recently going through a bunch of Elvis footage of his concerts and such. Missed that guy.
Be careful. You're going to make April have problems over there.
Oh. Fab Daddy says, Howie, as a mod, Jake is a few minutes behind in chat, and if you don't give him context to your words, it will be lost on his mind. He's dealing with multiple conversations. Thank you, Fab Daddy. Yep, context is king. It helps to know what we're talking about. I am, at any given moment, carrying on about 16 individual unique conversations and keeping the plot straight on all of them at the same time while in a deficit of a lag of about 20 seconds. So, got to keep it interesting. There's Aaron. He says, I'm researching. All right. What's the matter? The first time you searched, it didn't turn up anything? It's sad when you got to do it again. I tell you to search and you got to do it again.
Hello, Aaron.
Research. It was funnier in my head. Howie says, oh, my bad. I like his chill personality. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm trying. Some people don't immediately get my dry witticism and humor. they immediately think, they either think I'm an asshole or they think I'm arrogant, but they never realize that I'm joking. I guess I have a resting bitch face, but it's nice if I meet people that actually enjoy my type of humor. Sue says, Aaron. And April says, ha, 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 there's Aaron. Hi, hugs. Smiley face with herpes. Aaron says, bows to the hammer. The hammer being Amanda. I sent a video out earlier of Amanda to a few of our stream members. I hope you got it. And it was her in her rare form.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Video of what?
You yelling at me?
Lies. Oh, I know what you said. Yeah. I know what you sent now.
Here's the Facebook page again, Howie, if you want to get in there. Here's some kitty cat videos or whatever. Aaron says, I've been here the whole time. I'm working on something. Nice. Anything we can talk about?
No. I'll tell you later.
Okay. Howie says, we have our own personal petting zoo. Me too. I have like 15 cats and a dog. And a wild hammer. Debbie says, what's her name, Aaron? That you're working on. Linda Davis says, hey, Aaron. Smiley face. Fab Daddy says, LOL, Debbie. Rosie Palm and her 5 fingers.
Yes. Debbie. Rosie Palm.
And her 5 sisters.
I said, not Rosie-O either.
Ugh. Gross. Aaron says, Reaper is the name, Debbie. Reaper. I have a piece of software that I use to make music called Reaper. Sue Wood says, my friend in England works at a Tudor castle in Suffolk and was part of a project to preserve English history funded by the prince. Nice. It's always nice to be part of something special. And there's a lot of history there to preserve also.
$907.
Thank you. Debbie says, Amanda, is it Rosie Palm?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Amy says, I thought Union Jacks were red long johns with a butt flap. No, those are long handles.
I had a pair of those when I was a kid.
Long handles with a butt flap. A Union Jack is the red, white, and blue flag that doesn't look red, white, and blue like ours does, but it's red, white, and blue in a completely Austin Powers kind of way. Aaron says, hey, everybody who said hi. And Sue says, Aaron, I'm going to tackle you with a hug. Nice. Reaper, she sounds scary, Aaron, says Debbie. Aaron says, well, I plead the 5th, Debbie.
LOL, Debbie. That's her freaky name.
Amy says, Howie, Jake has a cat sanctuary. More like a cat halfway house.
Cat whorehouse.
Yeah, there's a little of that going on.
A little.
Too. They do get freaky out there.
Lord, how merciful.
She says, you ought to get him spayed. And I said, hey, my body, my choice. Who am I to tell them they can't have babies? Amy says, hi, Aaron. And Sue says, I need to learn French before we visit Paris. Oui. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Tout de suite. Je t'adore. Je te vendo, I don't care. Aaron says, I'm getting tackled. Well, dang. Nice, huh? John says, was it Cavendish Cattle in Suffolk Sioux Woods? Was it Cavendish Castle? Was it Cavendish Castle in Suffolk? I think that's what he's saying. Howie says, cats. Ethel's name is in memory to my cat Lucy, and she was 12 when she saw diamonds in the sky. Nice. Aaron says, hamster dimples. Hamster dimples. Sue says, John, no. I think it's called Kentwell. And Amanda says, Cash App, $ Jake Johnson Band, or paypal.me/Jake Johnson Band. Thank you very much. Or Super Chat, or T-shirt, or join the channel. Get yourself a J tag. Look professional. Let your name stand out in the crowd. They are sexy. Look at all those names with J tags. It's nice. And for the low price of feeding a starving kid in Africa, you can be a member of this channel. John says, I live in Suffolk, Sue. Nice. I didn't know that. And I thought you lived in England proper. I guess I don't know much about England, so it could be broke up like other places. April says, you'll figure it out. Thank you for the vote of confidence. Sue says, John, she lives in a small medieval village between Cambridge and Ipswich. It's practically right in the middle, and the castle she works at is 7 minutes from her house. Well, at least she don't have far to commute. That's nice. You just roll out of bed and go to work. That's what I'm talking about. I'd like to work at a place that's across the street. That would be nice. Or at home. I'd like to work at home. That'd even be better. Actually, it wouldn't, because I'd never get anything done, because if I'm the boss, I'd give myself the day off, and then there goes the neighborhood. Amy says, Sue, Rich speaks French. Nice. I didn't know that. Go, Rich. Where you at, Rich? You ain't said much. Howie says, no, but I saw the Blue Angels. The main interest for me is historical sites. Nice. The Blue Angels are kind of a historical site, if you look really quickly. It's a historical site, but you got to look real fast. Sue says, John, her home was built in 1390, approximately. It's on the historic registry. I'll be staying with her. All that means is that she can't do anything to her house. It would take an act of Congress or something equivalent, Parliament. It would take an act of Parliament to do something to her house. If it's on the historical registry, it is ridiculous. I used to watch a show called, I can't remember what it's called. It's about bespoke homes being built in historic areas in London or around the countryside. I can't remember the name. It might be, I can't remember the name of it. It had this British bloke that would talk real posh, real rich looking, real fancy guy, fancy pants. And he would walk through these young couples who bought their first home and sunk all their money into it, and they're being the building project managers. And it always ends in dismay because they run out of money, or they don't know what they're doing, or whatever, or think they know what they're doing and ruin the project, or whatever it is. They always got like double glazed glass and heated floors and ensuite baths and, total bespoke buildings. I always loved that show, though.
World's Most Extraordinary Homes?
No, it wasn't that.
Stream Homes?
No, I can't remember what it was called or what the guy's name is, but I could see his face in my mind. It ran for a long time, though. It was a long-running show. Bill Bennett says, sometimes it's a good thing to just sit back and listen. Right on, Bill. And sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
And April says, LOL. And John says, I live near 𝕌𝕟𝕠𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝𝕝, where they filmed Harry Potter. I thought that was at Hogwarts. Amy says, my daughter is going to a Renaissance fair this weekend, a huge event up in Michigan. I've never been to a Renaissance fair, but I did play at a Renaissance bar one time, where they had actual bar wenches and barmaids and bards go around singing to the tables. And they did a seance, a fire dance in the dance floor when I went on break. It's kind of a weird place. Everybody was dressed in medieval garb, walking around with swords and big goblets and stuff. Howie says, hungry Howie pizza. You got the joke. April says, right on, Bill. Thumbs up and smiley face. And Sue says, John, she told me we'll be taking a train from Cambridge to London and then London to Paris, and the train goes under the English Channel. As it does. And John says, that's the Eurostar, Sue. Amy says, Hobby Lobby. Does a Hobby Lobby have a wooden dick? I don't think that's how that joke goes. Hold on. Anyway. Sue says, that's so cool you live near where Harry Potter was filmed, John. I love all the history in England. I'm excited to experience it and see it. I bet you are. Please take lots of pictures and share it with the crowd, because I would love to see more of that place before they destroy it. And Debbie says, pow, right in the kisser. Right to the moon, Alice. Pow to the moon. Zoom to the moon, Alice. One of these days, Norton. See, what you do is you address the ball. Aaron says, smile or wear glow-in-the-dark underwear. Right on. And Sue says, John, is that one from London to Paris? I think so. I think it's a total trip. I'm pretty sure you can go all the way up the countryside through all those places from like Italy to France, I think. I'm not sure though. April says, how do you do that? Roll your tongue like that? Like this? I have a talented tongue, April. I roll the tongue just like the Renaissance people roll their tongues. And I'm very, very, very good at it. And I can take my teeth out and lick my forehead. Ladies? John says, I live near a pub. It's the smallest pub in the world. Only fits 2 people in it at a time. That sounds more like a booth than a pub. Are you sure you don't live near a booth? That sounds like a booth pretending to be a pub. I think I've heard of that before, too. Now, there's also a police station there somewhere that's the smallest police station. It's like a little box. It's a whole police station, but it's a little box. And I think it's like on the tourist attraction list, you know. Come visit the smallest police station in the world. Why, April, do you like it when I roll my tongue? You should see what I can do with my nose.
Magic fingers.
John's read that one. Amanda says,
because he's good at what he does, April.
oh, yeah. Ooh, Oh, no, thieves and beggars. Amy says, sounds like my bathroom, Nugget. Only fits 2 people at a time. What are you guys doing in the bathroom? That's what I want to know. Howie says, Spaceballs was hilarious. I wish they'd do a variant for the Clone Wars. Well, they are going to do a Spaceballs 2. They're working on it now. Whether or not it's actually going to make it to air, I don't know. But last I heard, Mel Brooks and the team are working on a Spaceball 2. Now, I don't know who's going to come back or if anybody. I don't know if Rick Moranis or if Bill Pullman is involved. Or I know John Candy's not because he's dead. And I don't know if the lady that played Princess Vespa is involved or not. And I don't really know a lot of details, but he has confirmed they are working on it. So maybe in the next year or so, you'll get a Spaceballs, the sequel, which I can't imagine will be any good. I saw that History of the World Part 2 that he did, and it was not good. It looked like somebody trying to copy Mel Brooks. It looked like that. It looked like a cheap imitation of Mel Brooks. It wasn't good like his stuff usually is. I don't know why, but I would assume that the studio being involved would probably have something to do with all the woke nonsense and being scared to say anything and all the things you can't do and can't say and can't make fun of anymore, and which is death to comedy, by the way. So I can't imagine Spaceballs 2 is going to be good, but I'll watch it because I'm a fan of the old one. I've never watched Clone Wars. That's the animated series, right? I've never watched any of that. So I don't know. I don't have any frame of reference. I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I'm a Star Trek guy. I don't like Star Wars as much. I'm a fan of the original 3 movies. I don't care anything about all of the sequels.
Live long and prosper.
Tayanasha no Korosha.
Damn it, Jim.
I can't get the dilithium crystals to work, Captain. I'm giving her all she's got.
It took you long enough.
Don't drive it over the edge. Yeah, you might be right, but you might be wrong too. Listen, I've seen Braveheart 50 times. 50. April says, LOL, Amanda, you a bad girl.
LOL, April, yep.
April says, Jake, thanks for taking time for Elvis. The man. Wow. Much love. He was absolutely brilliant and mesmerizing. I'm obsessed with Elvis. Ha 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 ha. Everyone is obsessed with Elvis. Listen, Elvis had a thing that happened to him. It was not something that he did. If you go look at pictures of him when he was a child, he was a awkward, blonde-headed, little knock-kneed Tupelo boy with no charisma. When he turned into a teenager, right at that cusp of teenager, he did a talent show at school, and the girls were into it. And when he realized that he had that power, he leaned into it. Where most people would shy away from it, he leaned into it. And because of that, we got an expressive Elvis that, for some reason, all of the stars aligned, and he became this iconic figure, probably because Colonel Parker sold him like a comic book, you know. They presented an image, and people bought that image. It's called verisimilitude. It's the appearance of reality in the absence of logic. And Elvis had a gift that no one else has. Now, I don't care who it is. From that point forward, you go talk to anybody in music, any genre, it doesn't matter, rap, rock and roll, opera. You ask any artist, and they will all tell you that certain portions of their show is from Elvis Presley. They are all in some way trying to grasp some small part of what he was by accident. He didn't do that on purpose. This is not a thing he created. He created the character Elvis. He wasn't that man. He was a little bit shy, a little bit introverted, a little bit normal. But he created a character, an avatar for you. The avatar is you, right? I don't. That may not make sense right off. Let me see if I can articulate. I have studied the first half of my life. I studied in depth how to cause that reaction that Elvis and those type people got from people. I spent a great deal of my time trying to understand what it was that made that happen, because nobody else can do that. Nobody else has that. It's just there, right? And I figured out what it is, because I've, in some small way, not like Elvis, but in some small way, I have received that kind of attention. I have been on stage and people have responded to me in like kind, and I have felt that power to some degree. And it was only then that I really understood what was happening. You see, if in some way you look at me and get moist or get faint or feel heart-throbbed, that's because of what you are desiring. I am an avatar for you, right? It's nothing that I'm doing. I can't do that. That's why it always fails when people try to go out and pretend to be like Elvis, and they fail. Why do they fail? Because it's nothing that they are doing. It's what the audience is doing. They are living vicariously through the artist that they are attracted to. The attraction comes from the audience, not from the character. The character's an avatar so that the audience can project that feeling in that direction, right? So it's a little bit of hypnosis happening. It's a symbiotic hypnosis that occurs. And that's why you can't reproduce it. That's why you can't have a guy, even if he's as handsome as Elvis, and he was a handsome man, he can't do what Elvis did because the avatar isn't responding to the crowd. The crowd has to be there for that to work, right? So you put Elvis, if you take Elvis out of the character, right? You take the hair and the suit and the microphone and the music and the crowd away, what do you have? You have a slightly shy, slightly introverted, blonde-headed, knocky-kneed, pretty Tupelo boy. That's it. He's no more different than any other guy in the room. What makes him different is the attention being lobbed at him from the audience. So you have to have that. So if you're in the entertainment business, can I have some more of this, please? And you want to have some of that, you have to create a character that is right for the zeitgeist of the time. The people that are watching you have to feel a certain way or want to feel a certain way. And then you have to create the right avatar for them to express that feeling, and you will have it. And everyone out there will say, look at how magical he is or she is. Look at what power she has. You don't. The only reason that power's there is because of the audience projecting it. Otherwise, you're just a person, right? So it's a little bit of a trick. But whatever it is, Elvis Presley had it in spades, and he could wield it. He wielded it. He understood what it was. He knew how to use it. He knew how to turn it on, right? But you still have to have the people there before it will work. If you don't believe that, go watch Elvis rehearse. There's a show called That's the Way It Is. That's a documentary that has a large portion of it is Elvis in rehearsal. And you will see that magic isn't there. He's just a guy working. He's humorous. He's got good rapport with his band, but he's not glowing. He's not 10 feet tall. He's not exuding sexuality. He's just working. Then cut to when he goes on stage at Vegas with the white jumpsuit and the women are passing out when he throws them the scarf, you know. You see, the crowd has to be there for that magic to work. It's from the crowd. It's not from the Elvis. The Elvis is just the avatar for the crowd. Hope that makes sense. And John says, Amy, it's in the Guinness Book of Records. A real pub. A real tiny pub. Got it. And Aaron says, Jake reinventing speaking in tongues. I'm speaking in tongues, all right. Amy says, growing up in my house, there was a velvet Elvis on one side of the living room and a velvet Jesus on the other side. Talk about childhood trauma. I think we had the velvet Elvis painting somewhere in one of our family members' houses too. That was a cool painting. But you see what I'm talking about? He created an image. And there's even a interview of him talking about how hard it is to live up to an image, right? Because that image is what everybody thinks of when they think of Elvis. They don't think of Elvis the person, his wants, his needs, his desires, what he thinks is interesting, what he likes to study, what his aspirations are. They don't think about any of that. They think about Elvis, the icon, right? So he created the image that they all projected the feeling to, which became the Elvis Presley, if that makes any sense. Thank God he died when he did, because if he'd have lived 5 years more, the mystique would have been lost. He would have lost himself as a resident in Vegas, and the Elvis Presley magic would have vanished. The reason we have it is because he died before it did. While it was still popular, while it was still vibrant, he passed away. And so we get to keep that. We get to think about that. That's the legacy. If he'd have lived 5 years longer, he would have faded in popularity. His music would have been outdated. He would have been a has-been stuck in the 70s, because that's the kind of music he played, which died around that point in time, around the same time disco did. And we would see an old man Elvis, gray hair and bad knees and glaucoma and way too fat. That last concert that he did in 76 or 77, whenever it was, that was almost too much. That was almost too far. People were like, yeah, he's the king. Yeah, he's still handsome. About to bust out of that suit, but he's still handsome. If he'd have got any bigger, Elvis would have the fad would have died. The illusion would have been broken. Thank God he died when he did, so he could remain Elvis. Debbie said, years ago, I read that Elvis did not like the movies he made. He did not. He wanted to be a serious movie actor. He wanted to make dramas. He wanted to be a real actor. And they were like, nope, get in there and sing another clam bake song. Colonel Parker knew how to make money. He didn't give a damn how Elvis felt about it. The only thing that matters is that that man is on that stage at 9 o'clock. I don't care if he's dead. He needs to be on that stage at 9 o'clock. That's the only thing that matters. That's how he felt. He did not like the movies he made. He thought they should have been better, not just fluff, but I enjoyed them all. But yeah, it was a teenager thing, and they were good sellers. They made money. They didn't cost much to make, and they made triple the budget. So they kept making them. And it's the same movie over and over and over and over and over again. He did like one movie where he got to play a real part, and he loved it, and he wanted to do that for a living. He actually didn't want to go back to singing when he, went back and did the Vegas thing. That last comeback that he didn't actually want to do that. He wanted to go into the movies and be a real movie star. Colonel wouldn't let him. He also wanted to tour the world, and Colonel Parker wouldn't let him leave the United States. Think about that. As popular as Elvis is, there's not one place on planet Earth that you can go. If you go to the darkest village in the Congo and draw an outline of Elvis's shape, somebody will go, hey, Elvis, that's Elvis. Everyone recognizes Elvis. Everyone. He never left the United States. I understand he went to Germany in the army. But as Elvis, he never left the United States. He toured only in the United States and only in the South mostly. He did play in the North a couple of times, but mostly it was from southern states. Imagine that. Amanda says,
LOL. Yeah, Aaron. And he practices on me.
speaking in tongues.
Exactly.
I do the tongues. She does the speaking. Amy says, my mom was obsessed with Elvis. Everybody's mom was obsessed with Elvis. I mean, why do you think a human being would get that hairdo with the mutton chops? The black hair with the mutton chops? Because of Elvis. He was, in fact, the king of rock and roll. Yes, other people did it before him. Yes, other people had that style of music before him. But he presented it in a package that was received by the world, making him the king of rock and roll, for sure. And every woman, there were women would line up around the block and stand in line to screw Elvis. I hate to say it that way. I'm being crass, but it's true. They had lines. And the Memphis Mafia, the guys that hung out with Elvis, would like take numbers and go get the best looking ones and bring them up to the front. And they would wait in line to have a few minutes with Elvis. He did not sleep with all of them, by the way. He had very weird sexual habits. One thing is he would not sleep with a woman if she had ever had a child. He didn't like that. He liked virgins and he liked young girls. And yes, creepy liked young girls. He did. I mean, think about it. He married a 14-year-old. So that's what he was into. But he was a mama's boy. A really strong mama's boy, and his mother died. So he missed that connection. So most of the women that spent time with Elvis spent time cuddling with Elvis. They didn't actually, he did sleep with some of them, but most of them he did not. Also, he was on wicked drugs, so he probably couldn't get it up. They don't like to talk about that, but if you know where to look and you listen to certain people, you can get the real story. They're very careful about Elvis's image, though. They don't let hardly anything come out that's negative about Elvis. They will sue you into oblivion if you have the truth. But in his defense, I will say this. Elvis was not a drug addict. I know. He died as a drug overdose. He did not know he was a drug addict. He thought he was doing what his doctor told him to do, that it was legal and above board. His doctor happened to be one of those like the doctor that Michael Jackson had that was giving him injections of propofol that would kill a horse and things like that. So Elvis was hopelessly addicted to uppers and downers and amphetamines and antidepressants and you name it. He ran the gambit. But he did not do like cocaine or crack or anything like that. In fact, he wanted to be a DEA agent and work with the government. Some people say that he did. He got an honorary badge from Nixon, but some people say he actually did work for the DEA. There's an FBI file about it. So he was against drugs, even though he was a drug addict. He just didn't know that he was. He thought he was doing the right thing, what his doctor told him to do. And also, there had never been a rock star, so nobody actually knew how to be a rock star. He was winging it. Believe that. April says, LOL. Wow, Amy. Aaron says, that was the idea of the joke, Amanda. Amanda says, I heard that too, Debbie, about Elvis.
Amy said that.
Amy said that. What did I say?
Amanda.
Amy said that. Patty says, oh, y'all, I needed some friendly common sense interaction sometimes. Just starved for God-driven conversations. I hear you. Well, anything I can do to help, Patty, you just let me know what you want to talk about, and I'll go in that direction. And Debbie says, Amanda was the varmint. Ha 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 ha. Yep, that's why I sent it to y'all. You didn't see the relationship? And then my chat jumped. Hang on. Got to get back up to it.
9:24.
Howie says, yep, I have decades of experience with animals. I was a dairy farmer from the age of 5 to 11. Nice. And Amy says, geez, thanks, Jake. I have Alice's restaurant stuck in my head now. Well, you can walk around back about a mile or two past the railroad tracks down to you-know-who. You can get anything that you want at Allison's restaurant. Sue says, there's a lot of sirens going off outside right now. I hope everybody's okay. Amy says, be careful, Sue. And Sue, get your passport right away. Don't wait until the last minute. It's less stressful that way. Agreed. Yeah, make sure you have all your paperwork and P's and Q's in order way before you leave. Because you do not want to be figuring that out while you're standing at the airport. In that little room with the guy with the rubber glove smacking it at you. And Sue says, thanks, Amy. And Amy says, the only French I know comes from watching Looney Tunes. Pepe Le Pew. What it is says, little egg on his stick horse, learning to roll his R's.
Oh, he rolls his R's just fine. What is it?
Amy says, please subscribe if you hadn't done so already. Yes, please hit that subscribe button. It's free, and it'll change your life. Or maybe not. But it's fun. Do that. And Sue says, I'm going to eat you. Don't threaten me with a good time. And Sue says, Suffolk is in West England. East England. And Debbie says, who you eating, Sue? Who are you going to eat, Sue? Amy says, Pepe Le Pew. Yeah, have you ever watched that cartoon as an adult? It's a little rapey. I'm just saying. And John says, Sue, it's East Anglia. April says, Amy, right on. Smiley face and thumbs up. And Sue says, nope. She just has to get permission, but she can do stuff to it. It's a lower level of persecution. What are we talking about?
Probably working on her castle.
Working on the castle. Got it. Sue says, John, isn't it part of England? It looks like it on a map. I think it is. I think Suffolk is a part of England. And Kevin says, the Money Pit? The Money Pit. Isn't that a movie? With, Steve Martin. April says, hey, Kevin, good to see you, love. Heart. Kevin says, hello, April, and hello, Kevin. Did I say hello to you already? Zombie house flipping, says Amy. No, it's not zombie house flipping, but that sounds like a fun show. I can't remember the name. It was I can see it in my mind, but I can't quite make it out. It's like a very government type thing, you know. This guy, he like works for the department that issues the permits to do these buildings. And so he goes and checks on them and does like a documentary that documents their progress. And he comes back when they're done and talks about the house and other houses. And it's a very good show anyway. It's very lethargic. It'll put you right to sleep, too. Sue says, I just hung out wet rugs to dry. Nice. That would be weird if you hung out dry rugs to wet. That'd be weird. Jake, is it called listed building? No, it's not that.
I need a water hose or a fire extinguisher.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you that hot?
I was earlier.
April says, awesome. And Sue says, there are different levels of the historic buildings. You can do stuff to the less restricted ones. Gotcha. But it's still restrictive. Oh, yeah. I know you got to get a lot of permissions to do things and jump through a lot of hoops and red tape and stuff like that. You basically don't own the house if you're in a historic district. You can live there, but you got to get permission to do all kinds of stuff. Like if you wanted to build a little shed out back, that's a no-no. You got to go through all kinds of stuff to get that done, from what I understand. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just riffing off of things I've seen on TV, but it seems to be a big headache to own a historic property. I wouldn't want to live there. Especially if it's like a castle. That's like part of the historic backdrop, you know. They're real funny about that sort of thing. April says, LOL, Amanda. Get him. Ha ha ha. And Sue says, where'd Aaron go? He's here. And Debbie says, toe curling, sheet grabbing, rolling R's, and forehead licking, and a nose. And thumbs.
Hmm.
You'd be surprised what a fella can do with a thumb. Amanda says, he's doing research, Sue. And Aaron's here. He says, Sue, I'm watching. John says, the pub is called Nutshell. That's apropos. I would have thought TARDIS. But Nutshell works. Sue says, why are so many things offensive? If it bothers you, leave. If it bothers who, what? What are we talking about? Who's offended?
She was talking about when you were talking about earlier about things about Spaceballs too.
Oh, no. That's just because of the modern world that we live in. But nobody's offended, Sue.
You made a comment about people being offensive by things being said or done or shown.
Oh, yeah.
People take offense. I think that's what she's referring to.
Yeah, well, that's just the way that modern culture they've become gatekeepers of language, and nothing's allowed to be made fun of anymore. So comedy is pretty much dead. There's words you can't say on the internet. If I said certain words on this show, they would pull the show, or at the very least demonetize it. And that's 2025 living right there. You can't do much about that. Amy says, damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor, not a web technician. And Walter Davis says, ever see I'm gonna get you, sucker? I have. Many, many years ago. I'm gonna get you, sucker. I've seen Blackula, too. I love blaxploitation films and sexploitation films. Any exploitation films, really. I'm a big fan of grindhouse B movies. Back in the old days of the drive-in theaters where they'd throw a movie together for $150,000 and whoever they could get to be in it, and run down the road shooting films without permits, guerrilla filmmaking and stuff like that. Low budget, in-camera effects. I'm a big fan of that sort of thing. Bad movies, but they're fun to watch. like Dolomite, anything Dolomite put out. April says, hey, Walter, love, good to see you. And Sue says, Elvis is still alive. I've seen him in Vegas. I hear you. Well, he's 90 years old this year, so 90 something. Walter says, that's a movie that can never be remade. I know. There's a lot of those. A lot of those old movies can't never be remade because they were very of their time. Amy says, very funny, Mr. Scott. Now beam down my clothes. Right on. April says, absolutely. Hearts in a circle and prayers. And Aaron says, Sue, I'm still here. You ask about me? Amanda says,
LOL, Sue. I bet you see a bunch of Elvis.
yep.
Elvis on every corner.
And Amy says, moist. Amy says, Elvis plural. Elvi? LV? Yep. Elvises? I'm not sure. Amanda says, LOL, squirty, 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 squirty. April says, ha ha ha. That's a nice way of putting it. OMG. Smiley face. Sue says, John, if you're in Suffolk, it must be really late. My friend went to bed hours ago. Yeah, I think he's like 4 hours ahead of us. John says, it's 2:46 in the morning here, Sue. Yep, he's a trooper, Sue. Die hard. April says, well said, Jake. Elvis. Thank you, ma'am. I've done a lot of research into Elvis. He's a very interesting subject matter. And I am an Elvis fan. Although I didn't start out that way. I did not like Elvis until I was in my 30s. And he grew on me. And it was when I began to understand what kind of position he was in. And I began to watch his face. You see, I'm a performer, so I know what he's thinking about while he's up there. I know what's going on behind the scenes. I know what the band is doing. I know what he's thinking. I know what emotions he's feeling, what he's going through, because I've done it. I've been there. And when I started seeing it and the effect that it had on him, I began to become a fan. And now, when I watch Elvis, I'm not really watching him. I'm really watching the world respond to him. And that's what I find so fascinating. He really was unique, and he really did live a very charmed life. I would have loved to have got to know that guy and sit down and talk to him and figure out what made him tick and why he did the things the way he did them and that sort of stuff. All the stuff about Elvis is all hype, you know. There are all kinds of things to keep the momentum going, to keep the mystique up so that you can make money, you know, like Bigfoot or whatever. But sadly, he passed away because he was very reckless with his health and did not know better and got tangled up in some medications that wrecked his body. And it caused a catastrophic failure, and we lost the king of rock and roll. You know, you could say that a bright star will burn out faster, and that is true. There's a lot of stories of certain people that died very early, like Jimi Hendrix was 27 years old. Kurt Cobain was 27 years old. Mama Katz, 27 years old. You know, on and on and on and on and on. Very young. and did stuff that changed the whole world as we know it, and probably wasn't even aware of it in their own mind. Stevie Ray Vaughan was very young when he passed away from a helicopter accident, and he was changing the world. He's the only artist to date that mainstreamed blues. Nobody else has been able to do that. Jeff Healey came close, but he was confined to blues festivals. He couldn't really cross over into mainstream. He had a couple of hit songs, but most of what he did was lost on the general public. A lot of people don't even know who Jeff Healey is. And he was a very good, unique guitar player. There's nobody else in the world that can play like he did on his knees, you know. He's blind, so he played like he's reading Braille with the guitar laying flat and his hands on top of the guitar. He was the first tapper, you know, probably before Eddie Van Halen got it going. Anyway, Stevie Ray Vaughan took hardcore blues and made it rock and roll. And he was able to do that and get airplay. If he'd have been able to keep going, this would be a very different world that we live in now, because there wouldn't be no Leonard Skinner. There'd be Stevie Ray Vaughan. It wouldn't be no, Metallica. Grunge would have never happened. Guitar would have went in a different direction. He was a pinnacle, a fulcrum to which everything changed when he died. Likewise with Jimi Hendrix. Aaron says, that's like Prince and Michael Jackson. He could just stand people passed out. He could just stand and people passed out. Yes. Elvis could just look at you. He didn't even have to crack a smile. He could flinch and women would just fall over. Yeah, he was that powerful. And the first one to ever have that power. So no one knew how to be a rock star. No one had a handbook on what best practices are, how to take care of yourself, how to act in public, that sort of thing. He made all of that up. He wrote the book on it, which means he also suffered all of the setbacks and the consequences for the actions and all of that. There's a very real chance he could have died penniless and hooked on something worse than what happened to him, Very real chance that he could have just exploded, He managed it pretty good as far as rock stars go. He ended up being like a recluse, trapped in his house. He couldn't go anywhere because people would mob him. And if he wanted to go to a movie, he'd have to rent the whole theater out and go in the middle of the night. That's how he went to the movies. Or if he wanted to go shopping, he'd have to rent the whole mall and go at night. So it's very interesting to think about what that was like. Amy says, I was checking in with the third shift supervisor. I'm back. I didn't know you were gone. And John says, my mom loved Buddy Holly. Yeah, Buddy Holly had a lot of fame. Very interesting cat that guy was. You know who his bass player was? Buddy Holly's bass player was Waylon Jennings. And was supposed to be on the plane that night that it crashed. But Buddy Holly had the flu, so he gave him his plane seat because Buddy was going to ride back on the bus, which was like a 2-day journey, and the plane would have been there in a couple of hours. So he gave Buddy Holly the plane, and the last thing they said to each other, he goes, I hope your bus crashes. And Waylon says, I hope your plane crashes. And they parted ways. And it did. And he never lived it down. But he became Waylon Jennings, so thank you for that. But if it had worked out the other way, we'd have lost Waylon that night. Old Buddy Holly. True love ways. Amy says, Aaron Prince had a vault full of unreleased music. He was a genius. He was a genius and a true musician. Like me, he played everything and was good at it. Like, it would surprise you how good he was at what he did. He could play bass or drums or piano or guitar. I do all of it, but I'm not as good at it as he was. Aaron says, yeah, and he wrote for everyone and played 21 instruments. I don't even know how many instruments I play. I just say all of them because there might be a few I don't play, but I can play anything that makes noise. See?
He makes beats on different parts of my body.
Quite the bongos she has. Boom, 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 boom. Sue says, boom, be up. Right on, Sue. John says, Prince wrote songs for so many other music artists as well. Yes, a good artist does that. Like David Allan Coe, who was not very famous in his own right. He was famous, but not as famous as some of the other people who played his songs. But you'd be surprised at the number of songs David Allan Coe wrote that other people got famous on, like Take This Job and Shove It, or Field of Stone, or, any number of things. Please Come to Boston, Kenny Loggins. Purple Rain. Go look.
That's my jam.
Sue Wood says, my bird says hi. Hi, bird.
Bird, bird, bird.
Bird,
is
bird,
a word.
bird, 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 bird. Say the bird is a word. Bird, 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 bird is a word. That's an annoying song.
Yes, it is.
Amy says, a lot of addicts become addicts by following doctor's orders, like Tom Petty. Yes. Tom Petty knew what he was doing, though. He was getting them on the slide. He was getting handfuls of perks from his buddies and ended up getting some with fentanyl in it. And a lot of guys, Joe Diffie, Tom Petty, a lot of guys got caught with the fentanyl. That's a bad substance. I hope they get rid of it. And that was a loss, too. Tom Petty was also a very unique musician. Great, unique sound, and the world lost something big when they lost Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty. I play a lot of his music. Aaron says, that's what I was saying, John. Andy gave a bunch of stuff away, too. And Patty says, John, very true, music info. Yes. Then my chat jumped. Hi, Lady B.
9:58.
Amy says, Nugget, right. The Bangles, Walk Like an Egyptian, written by Prince. Cyndi Lauper, time after time. When you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I'll be better be waiting. Good song. Also written by Prince. April Rain says, LOL, Sue. We have an African gray, and his name is Smokey, and he talks a lot. Now his favorite word is for, LOL, in my voice. For? And Sue says, what makes you happy? I don't know. What makes you happy?
The song "What Makes You Happy." Wasn't it not Alison Krauss?
No.
Who sang that song? It was a
know.
female.
I don't know. I don't recognize the song.
I don't know if it was "What Makes You Happy" or if that makes you happy.
Just another manic Monday, and nothing compares to you. Also
Sinead,
written by Prince.
Sinead O'Connor. Didn't she just pass away?
Sinead O'Connor, she passed away a while ago.
Hey, do y'all know why Sinead O'Connor had holes in her pockets? So she can run her fingers through her hair.
That's mean. Sue says, April, I have an umbrella cockatoo. I got a cockatoo. April says, nice, Sue. Amy says, just another manic Monday. I like manic Mondays. I get manic every now and then on a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday or a Sunday.
Yes, Sinead O'Connor died in 23.
Amy says, Smokey says, good to see you, lovely. Right? He should, right? Aaron says, does Smokey have tears of a clown? Inside the pocket of a clown. April says, oh, I wish it were Sunday. Oh, whoa. LOL, Amy. Just another manic Monday. Oh, I wish it was Sunday.
101.
I got it.
Okay.
Amy said, I was singing to myself. Amy says, Howie, you're always welcome in this chat. We're here every day except Tuesday and Thursday. Yep. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Sunday at 8 o'clock. Every other day at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Aaron says, April, that's my fun day. It's my fun day. Right on. Aaron says, ooh. April says, no, Smokey will outlive me and my grandkids. Had him since I was 9 years old. Yeah, that bird has been around for a long time because I remember when I was a kid. Still here.
I remember him too.
Sue Wood says, April, I used to have a gray, but I really love cockatoos. Most girls do. Not all of them, though. Some of them have short hair. Wear flannel. Comfortable shoes. Amy says, parrots live a long time. Yes, they do. Probably because of their sense of humor. Words. Walter Davis says, I'm back at the farm. Hello, everyone. Hello, Walter. I didn't know you were gone. Aaron says, April, it was a Smokey Robinson joke. Tracks of my tears. Take a good look at my face. You know my smiles are out of place. If you look closely, maybe you'll see the tracks of my tears. I'm a bit of a song historian. I know a lot about songs. Least of which, the lyrics. I make up half of them because I can't remember shit. Amanda says,
My chat jump.
hi, Walter. Amy says, this old house. I think that's it. Nope, no, that's the one. That's an American one. It's something like that, though. This is a British show, and it might be Old House or Old Home or something like that. But I think that one is the one in America, isn't it? The dude with the beard. I don't know. I'd have to go look. I've got videos upon videos upon videos and hard drives all over the place. I can find some episodes of it. And Sue says, Amy, it depends on the species, but mine can live for 50 years. Wow. That's a long time for a bird to live, don't you think? John says, Tom Petty and Prince and Steve Winwood. Jeff Lynne, While My Guitar Gently Weeps. And Steve Winwood would be Gimme some lovin'. Gimme some lovin'. Hey, 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 hey. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yep, I've done all that stuff. Or, I'm a man. I'm a man. Apparently he's a man. April says, wow, I love the old country music. Me too. Specifically the 70s, 60s, and 70s country music, the early 80s. That's my favorite little niche, 70s to 85. Walter Davis says, me too, April. And Sue says, I'm going to listen to you while I take a shower. Excellent. Get naked. Get naked and think about me. I like it. And John says, in Britain, it's called listed buildings. Gotcha. Amy says, who wants to drink from the fire hose? Movie quote. That would be hard to do because it's very powerful. Make your teeth fall out. You'd be like that wacky, wavy, flailing, inflatable, wavy arm guy. Sue says, I live in a historic overlay, and we can't change the front of our homes, right? Yep. Amy says, Sue is in the shower. Yes. Who all don't have pants on? Raise your hand. Amy says, duct tape Aaron down. Aaron, watch out. They're getting feisty. Pretty soon you're going to find yourself duct taped to a chair. Saying, please, sir, can I have another? Can I have some more porridge, please? Walter says, the house at the farm was built in 1713. Wow. Aaron says, duct tape me is wild. I've been duct taped before, from head to toe. My dad's friends thought it was funny. They duct taped me from head to toe and then left, and I had to wriggle out of it. That was not pleasant.
You had to what out of it?
Wriggle.
One more time?
Wriggle. Wriggle, wriggle, wriggle. Wriggle. Wriggle like a royal roodle.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop that now. Fire extinguisher, water hose, anybody?
Walter says, or 1709, the barn was in 1830. As barns would be, yes. April says, y'all are hilarious. Well, I'm trying. This is a comedy show. I mean, for God's sakes, it's Wednesday. Come on. I'm not a comedian, but I do play one on TV.
And in your sleep?
Amanda says, in my sleep. What?
Yeah. Zip tape and duck ties.
Weirdo.
Yes. I learned it from you in April. Definitely April.
Mm-hmm. Aaron says, April, they don't know I'm good at escaping. I don't think escaping is the point. I think you want to be caught. If you escape, you miss all the fun stuff, is what I'm saying. Hang on and enjoy the ride. April says, aha, I bet, Aaron. Amy says, dumps ice cold water on Aaron. That's not fun at all. What are you trying to do here? You can't go up and get cold at the same time. That causes an innie, not an outie. Aaron says, you come back. I'm standing up like, really? We're having like a fantasy thing happening here that's being played out in real time in the chat. It's very interesting. In the third person. Remember Blue Velvet? I do, with Dennis Hopper. Very interesting movie, that. Mommy. Aaron says, cold ice water in a freezer. I'm more effective. Not me. I shrivel up like a old leather purse, change purse. Cold water in a freezer is more effective. Is more effective, not I more effective. Got it. Walter Davis says, you couldn't re-release the original Tarzan movies. PETA would burn down the movie houses. Probably. There was that weird Tarzan movie in the early 80s, Greystone. Remember that? Greystoke. That was interesting. It was based on a novel that somebody wrote about Tarzan. It wasn't really a Tarzan proper movie, but it was about Tarzan. Kind of an interesting take on the subject. I think Bo Derek was in that movie. Seems like that. I might be mistaken, but I think she was in that movie. Sue Wood says, shower done. Time to lotion up. That was a fast shower, Sue. You couldn't have got much playing done like that. April says, yes, absolutely, Jake. Thumbs up. I don't know what you're absolutelying, but I'm with you 100%. Amy says Elvis should have fired the Colonel. You think so? The Colonel made Elvis. I don't think Elvis would have been Elvis without the Colonel. He was a shrewd businessman, but he definitely knew what he was doing. I don't know. Elvis was very loyal to that man. Very loyal. Like, he told Elvis what to do, and Elvis did it, period. I don't know why that is. They didn't have a written contract. It was a handshake contract only, and he was loyal to him to the T at his own detriment. So I'm not sure what kind of deal they had, or if the Colonel had something on Elvis or something like that. I don't know. I thought about that, though. He might have had something on him. But if you were a musician and you wanted to be famous, the Colonel was the guy to be your manager, because he definitely knew how to sell a character. There's a documentary that's like, there's a camera set up in the auditorium while people are filing in, and you can hear over the loudspeaker, and you can see people walking around, and they're selling trinkets, like little $2 and $3 photos, signed photos, little fake oil paintings, little hats, little fans, little necklaces, just all kinds of little merchandise. And they're just raking the money in, raking the money in. And you can see them. They're walking around just counting 20s, garbage bags full of money at the end of the night. That's how you sell it. That's how you sell a character. The show, the Elvis concert, was the least thing going on that night. There were vendors all over the place. There were TV stations. There were news reporters. There were just commotion. It was like a circus going on. And Elvis was the last 30 minutes of that circus. He'd come in and do his little 30-minute show and then be gone. Elvis has left the building. Thank you and good night. I'm telling you, most of the money they made was in selling Elvis, not Elvis himself. Aaron says, time for a snack. I want you to know that I'll be right back. So get up and get yourself a final snack. That's not how that goes. Before you get up for that final snack, I want you to know I'll be right back. Ha! I kill me. Amanda says, oh, ladies, question. You have the floor.
How long does it take you to take a shower? Usually. I need a poll.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Ha 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 ha.
Especially if you're taking a shower like that.
Read the chat and then give me grief. That's what I want you to do.
Amy says 5 to 10 minutes.
Hmm.
The 27 Club. That's the people that died at the age of 27, yes. There's actually enough of them, they're calling it a club. Seemed to be a rash of people dying at the age of 27. Not all of them were 27, but they were all close enough that they called it that. Like Jim Morrison. Amanda says,
Me too, Amy. 5 to 10 minutes, maybe longer if I'm washing my hair and shaving.
April says, jinx, Amy. Did you say 27 Club at the same time? Walter Davis says, depends on how sore I am. Hot shower might be a while. Yeah, I take a shower. It takes me 30 minutes. And she's like, man, it took you a while to get a shower. And I said, that's because I wash every part.
He doesn't realize that the women can get in there and get out that fast and get their business done.
Yeah, but I actually wash, like scrubbing.
Well, what do you think we do? We just get in there and play with our loofahs?
For a 10-minute shower, yeah.
It don't take 5 minutes to wash twice.
I can't even get my feet out of my drawers in 5 minutes.
Well, that's your fault. We got other stuff to do. We get in and get out.
Linda says, it depends on if I have to shave, Amanda. Right. And Amanda says,
Right, Linda?
Lady B's here. Hey, Lady B, how are you, sweet lady? Lady says, Amanda, if I wash my hair, condition my hair, shave, and wash my body, 20 to 25 minutes. If I only wash and rinse my body, 15 minutes. But, you know, sometimes you got to wash that one particular place good. A few times. Sue says, Amanda, however long it took me to say I was taking a shower, and then I was done. Well, that's no fun at all, ladies. Amanda says, my hair is long and thick and curly, so it takes me about 5 minutes just to wash and condition my hair. Yeah, it takes me a while to wash my hair, too. Because I have long hair. I was going to say thick and curly, but it ain't. Amy says, hi, Lady B. And Amanda says,
Hi, lady.
Lady B says, hey, darling Amy. Linda says, hi, Lady B. April says, hi, lady. Smiley face and hearts. And Sue says, pajamas on now. Took you longer to put your pajamas on than it did take a shower. Lady B says, kisses, Amanda. Jeff Beck and Randy Rose. Jeff Beck is not dead, is he? Did he die? I think I've seen him recently. Randy Rhodes is dead. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Jeff Beck is dead. I thought he was still alive. I might be thinking about Steve Vai. Amanda says, okay, I had to check. When I just wash my body and get out, I'm in and out in 5 to 7 minutes. And Jake says, I take fast showers, LOL. He's in there for an hour, 30 minutes.
An hour.
It don't take me an hour.
When your phone alarm goes off twice while you're in the shower, that makes it an hour.
Well, I may have not been in the shower yet. I may have been doing other things. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. That explains a lot.
Amy says, Slash. Slash is definitely still alive. And Lady B says, hey, Linda, April, Jake, and everyone. I love y'all to the moon and back. I love you to the moon and back and to the moon and back again, round and round. That's sweet, Lady B. Thank you. And Sue says, what is your current phone battery percentage? Mine says 12. 79. 79%. Of course, I'm not on my phone. I'm on a computer. Sue says, hi, Lady B. Lady B says, Amanda, he could be playing. Most men do. Could be. Could be just combing my mustache.
That's what you call it these days?
Aaron says, Richie Valance was young, I think. Yeah, he was one of those 27 clubs. He was on the plane with Patsy Cline and the Big Bopper when it went down. And they all lost their lives. You know, the Big Bopper. Hello, ladies. Chantilly lace and a purty face and a ponytail. Hanging down, a wiggle and a walk and a giggle and a talk. Make the world go round, round, round. Ain't nothing in the world like a big-eyed girl to make you act so funny. Make me spend my money. Feel real loose like a long-necked goose. Oh, baby, that's what I like. Boop, 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 boop. That guy. And Richie Valance was ba-la-la-la-la-bamba. Porque sete pa-pa-di-ba-da-bi-da. Ba-ba-lamba. Ba-ba-lamba. Amanda says, one phone, 66. Two phone, 45. Three phone, 80. LOL. Lady B says, hey, Sue, I love you, honey. And I'm getting my notebook, Amanda. Nice. What kind of notebook? The IBM notebook? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Or notes notebook?
Yes.
Sue says, Amanda, you have three phones? 3 phones, 2 tablets, and a Fire TV.
And a laptop.
And a laptop. Going right now. She has more tech in front of her than I do in front of me, and I'm running the show. Does that tell you anything? Psycho. April says, LOL, Jake, and his bongos. Boom, 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 boom. Amanda says,
Yes, going right now, and my laptop and a TV on Bible nights. I have 3 phones, a tablet, a laptop, and a TV.
would you lay with me in a field of stone? If my knees were strong, would you lay with me? Would you go away, way to another land? Walk 1,000 miles through the burning sand and wipe the blood away from my dying hand if I give myself to you? Would you lay with me? Yeah, I like David Allan Coe too, Linda. I had the good fortune of playing with David Allan Coe quite several times. Being on the same bill with him. I was on the road with him a few times, and the band Confederate Railroad, if you know who those are. That's the I Like My Women Just a Little on the Trashy Side, and Queen of Memphis, and Daddy Never Was a Cadillac Kind, those songs, that guy. So I was right there, that close. I could have become famous. I was one step away, and the price was just too high. I just couldn't do it. So here I am, YouTube personality extraordinaire, and losing my voice. Lady B says, April, ℂ𝕚𝕝𝕝, And Sue says, Amanda, that's a lot of screens. You're telling me. She must really like looking at me. Lady B says, Amanda, we're giving your phones out. We're giving your phone number out. Why would you give her phone number out? Walter Davis says, Willie Nelson was a studio. And my chat jumped. Hang on.
Studio guitar player, played on the Beatles and Beach Boy records.
Well, that was Glenn Campbell. Not Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson may have played a few studio gigs, but he has a very particular guitar style and it's very hard to follow. Glenn Campbell played with the Beach Boys and a few other people, including Alice Cooper, which is weird, but he did.
I liked Alice Cooper back in the day, though.
Alice Cooper is freaky.
Yeah, but he had some good songs.
What's the number, huh?
1021.
I found it.
It's my turn anyway. Hello, no lady, not unless you need it. Someone to talk to.
And also,
it is Sue, but I have a lot to keep up with.
yep, she's following the chat in several different ways and also looking up things when I bring up random subjects, keeping me straight, and verifying points that I make that seem off the wall. It's actually a necessary thing to have a Jamie, because I make a lot of comparisons that most people don't believe are true. Most people don't understand how I made that connection. So when I say random things, she pulls it up, and there it is, the verification, so that it's not out of nowhere, and people can learn that I'm not just talking in nebula, that I am saying things that mean stuff. So it's very important what she does. I'm grateful that she has that many devices, and if it takes 10, I'll get her 10. Hope not, though. That's expensive. Why am I number 3? I do not know. Has to do with experience points. That's all I can tell you. So, Lady B says, I will keep that in mind, Amanda. And Amanda says,
Please do, lady.
Sue says, Amanda's number 2. Well, who's number 1?
Amy.
Amy, number 1. I don't know what of. Number 1 of, but she is. Lady B says, lots of screens for sure, Sue. I think it has something to do with the number of chats that you put out. I don't know, though.
It is. It's the many more comments you make, the more percentage of chats you get.
Gotcha.
But it's an incentive to get you to super chat, because you only get so high on the chat thing, and then they want you to super chat, and it catapults you into first.
Gotcha. Something YouTube put up. It's nothing that I'm doing. Lady B says, give Smokey a hug from us. Don't do that. You might kill it. I want to. Walter Davis says, Neil Diamond wrote all the monkey songs. Really? That's surprising. I like old Neil Diamond, though. He was like the Jewish Elvis. Or he thought he was, anyway. Did you know that Elvis's drummer also played with Neil Diamond? Talk about a pedigree. That guy had 2 jobs, and they were both very hot. I'm talking, of course, about Ronnie Tutt, the magnificent undersung hero that he was, the drummer for Elvis in the 70s. Ronnie Tutt, go look him up. He's still alive. He still plays drums, and he still plays with Neil Diamond. Unless Neil's died. I don't know. I haven't heard. Sue says, make somebody happy. Just one person happy, and you'll be happy too. I agree. Always be nice to somebody. Makes you feel good. Amy says, I'm still here. I'm just walking security. Do you have to do a punch, time punch, or a clock? Or do you just write it down? I did my rounds. I used to be a security officer back in my younger days, and I had a big clock that I wore on my side, a little metal, a little sling that went around my shoulder, and it hung down by my side, and I'd have to pick it up, stick a key in it, and turn it every 30 minutes as I walked the rounds. And there was a clock on the wall, so I'd have to do mine, and then I'd have to do the one on the wall so that they knew I passed that clock at that time every 30 minutes as I walked the rounds. That's the way they did it in the old days. Seems a little bit overkill, but that's how they did it. April says, I love Neil Diamond too, Walter. And the monkeys. Wow, I loved watching them. Hey, hey, we's the monkeys. And people say we monkey around, but we's too busy singing to get everybody down. We just try to be lucky. Anyway. Sorry, my nose is itching again. Gosh darn it. The old nose itcher.
Scratch it.
I am. It's weird. You're not supposed to touch your face on camera. I don't know how people do it in the profession. Walter says, LOL, too funny and probably true, Amanda. What's that? Lady B says, don't laugh, but I love the song Blue on Black, original version. Blue on black, tears on a river, read till the night go on down, do that and bit at. I don't know the words of this song. Whisper in the wind, gonna do it again, gonna take me back. Blue on black. Yes, I like Kenny Wayne Shepherd too. Good song. I don't know if it's the original version or not, but I do like that song. Amy says, Sinead, that's Sinead, not Sadie. Sinead O'Connor did a lot exposing child trafficking. Yes, she did. And the Pope. She's very against the Catholic Church, which did not read very well in the 80s. We thought she was a weirdo, but turns out she was right. Aaron says, Amy, duct taping people. Amy is duct taping people. Is. April says, ha ha ha. And Linda says, I love that song too, lady. Sue says, I want to be duct taped, Aaron. Sounds kind of fun, doesn't it? Until you have to pull it off. Don't get any in the sensitive areas. All I can tell you. Because it's unforgiving duct tape, especially if it's Gorilla Tape. That's good tape. It will bring the skin off with it. Aaron says, I bet you do, Sue. Susie Q. Oh, Susie Q. I love you. Oh, Susie Q, baby, I love you. Susie Q. Not much for eloquentious rhyming, but it's a good song nonetheless. Sue says, Amy is number one. Yes, she is. Walter says, the wise sage Walter. He says, careful what you wish for, Sue. That's what happens to people who are abducted. Unless you're abducted by aliens, and then you get anal play. For some reason. Lady B says, Amanda, you're quick. Mine is long, too. What are we talking about? I turn my water off when I condition it. Hair. Got it. I let my hair soak in a conditioner. I try to. I don't put conditioner in my hair, but once a year I'll soak it in conditioner. But it is not good. My hair will go limp and like it's fluffy, and I can't do anything with it. It won't stay under the hat. I can't control it. I can't put it in a hair tie. It'll just fall right out. I do not like conditioner. I like my hair to be a little bit dirty because I can control it. I know that you don't want greasy hair, but if it's a little dirty, like if I've sweated during the day, I can brush my hair and it'll stay in place. I have very unruly hair, and not in a good way. It's just everywhere. It took me 40 years to get it to lay like this. Believe me, when I was a kid, it was just an afro. Just went everywhere. And there was no fixing it. The only way I could control my hair was to keep it wet. And after 40 years of combing it straight back and pulling it into a tight ponytail, it finally got to where it's kind of straight now. It is not natural, though. My hair is not naturally straight. I'll show you. There you go. This is 40-something years of fighting to get it to lay straight. And now you know what's behind the hat. Now, Walter says, or in good, bad weather. Or in good bed, Walter. Aaron says that. Or in good bed, Walter.
Or good in bed.
Or good in bed, Walter. I got you. Yeah, you don't have to be abducted. You could just be good in bed. I got it. A little slow tonight. Sorry. Amy says, I'll protect you, Sue, from creepy Walter. It's fighting words, Walter. You gonna let her get away with it? Linda says, Sue, tape residue is too hard to get off. Stick with nylon or handcuffs. My kind of thinking. I like it. Get those stockings. You know the kind. They make good masks and they bind you well. And if you tie a knot, they don't come loose. Amy says, Lady B, my hair is long too. It's down to my back. It's down my back. Mine too. It's got a little bit of curl on the ends now, but used to I just had ringlets, tight ringlets when I was a kid, on up till I was about 35. Sue says, nah, I like being dominated. Oh, Lord. I'll just put my big hand around your throat and hold you to the pillow. I know what you're talking about. April says, I love old 50s doo-wop soul music. Well, doo-wop and soul are two different things. Which one do you like? Or both? I love it all. So you like soul and doo-wop. Doo-wop is a very particular kind of a cappella music. Started a cappella and then was grafted into music later. And starting about the time of the Beach Boys and a little bit before that, they were doing the doo-wops. And there was a very real reason to do that because in those days, 4 guys would get together and form a quartet. And they didn't have instruments or know how to play. So they made the sound of the instruments with their mouths. And that became the doo-wop sound because it's mimicking a bass guitar. Doo-wop-a-doo-wop-a-doo. And also has a little bit of rhythm to it. So that's where the idea came from. And then it was, transfigured into a myriad of different songs, different styles of song. The most famous of being like the ones you would think of. I can't think of the names right now. I'm not a real big fan of doo-wop, but you know the ones. But it vanished almost as fast as it showed up. Doo-wop only lasted about maybe 5 years. It didn't continue. Every now and then you can hear elements of it in other forms of music, like beach music. Like at the end of a song, where the person will go, oh, ah, but in a high pitch. That's a little bit of a leftover from the doo-wop era. And occasionally they'll release a song that has 4-part harmonies, and when they do, even more occasionally, they'll release some that have doo-wop in the song, oohs and ahs and that sort of thing, which came from that style. Like Every Rose Has Its Thorn has a little doo-wop in it. It's hard to miss because it's very faint, and you have to really listen to hear it, but it's in there. They're using vocals to shape chords in the song in the form of doo-wop. And a few other songs. Soul music, on the other hand, is James Brown and that sort of thing, and even further back. It's a variant of blues. It has a very particular beachy kind of sound to it. A lot of music, they didn't know how to categorize it because it didn't fit into rock and roll and it wasn't country, so they named it beach music, like Mustang Sally, for example, which is a blues song, but it's too mainstream to be blues, so they put it in the beach music category. Like My Girl, that's another one. Anything that that guy, what's his name, Marvin Gaye, anything he did fits into that category. Like Use Me. Use Me is a good soul type song. Anything James Brown did could be fit into that category. But mostly beach music exists because they didn't have a place to put it anywhere else. Didn't fit in rock and roll, didn't fit in country, wasn't jazz or contemporary. So they made up a new genre, beach music. Just like they made up the new genre oldies to put a certain group of songs that were further back that had nowhere to fit. Now they call them oldies. And then the last, does anybody know what the last genre of music that's like that was invented? Southern rock.
Croc.
Southern rock was the last genre that was invented for music that didn't fit into a category. And after that, every music just became pop. Top 100. Amanda says,
LOL, lady. I wash mine, then put the conditioner in, then I shave.
It'd be weird if you shaved and then put conditioner in.
No, I put the conditioner in so it can soak in my hair while I'm shaving.
And Sue says, thanks, Amy. And Amy says, y'all getting freaky in here. Par for the course. We call it Wednesday. These ladies like to talk a little risque. And I'm all right with that, and I'm not okay with that. Amanda says.
Yes, Sue, definitely.
You can just say it. You don't have to wait for me. John says, in Britain, Shaking Stevens sang This Old House Too. Shaking Stevens? I don't know who that is. And Walter says, I'm not into duct tape, handcuffs, or abduction. You don't know what you're missing, buddy. It can be for a fun night. If both parties are willing participants and you have a safe word established. Pineapple. And Sue says, Linda, you just to oil up first. You just have to oil up first. Right on. Well, then the duct tape won't stick to you. Oh, I see what you're doing there. April says, ha ha. And Lady B says, mine is too. Hair. Right at the small of my back. I've never colored it in my life. It's chestnut colored with a few light highlights from the sun. In the winter, it goes back dark. Chestnut. Nice. Mine is turning gray. So I've lost all the color in my hair, and now it's just dirty looking. I used to have very dark brown hair, almost red hair, like a red bone. That's what you would call me, a red bone. Very dark brown, not brown, but dark brown, like red. But not auburn. I'm not a ginger, but my mother was. Amy says, ha ha. Aaron says, being into abduction is wild.
Yes, lady. Mine's about the middle of my butt and has natural spiral curls. I can't stand it sometimes.
Yeah, but it's fun to make brains out of.
I bet.
I mean, they call it a ponytail for a reason, you know what I'm saying? Let me ride that pony.
Then when he gets mad at me, he wraps it around my neck and tries to choke me out with it.
Lady B says, wash it, pat it, and put it to bed, Sue. ℂ𝕚𝕝𝕝𝕝. Right on. Lady B says, I sleep with only a tank top and drawers. Nice.
So is being overpowered, Aaron.
Wild?
Yes.
Yes. Aaron says, yep, you might be right. I don't do that stuff.
Aaron hasn't let his freak flag fly.
Gotcha. Just have to find somebody you trust. I recommend that wholeheartedly. You can't do this with somebody you don't trust or somebody you don't know intensely. But if you are very close and trust each other implicitly, you can relax and enjoy the finer things in life, such as going down roads you wouldn't ordinarily go down. And it makes for an interesting evening. And it also can build your relationship to a higher plateau because you have experienced things together that you've not with anyone else, which is beautiful in and of itself. And when there's two consenting adults, all things are good. And Linda says, watch out, Aaron. These women are going to abduct you. Especially if they think they can. If one of them gets a van, be suspicious. April says, ℂ𝕚𝕝𝕝. And Sue says, sneaking up on Aaron with a rope. Watch out, Aaron. Look behind you.
I'm sorry. I hear you, Aaron. Some people get off on that stuff.
Aaron says, Linda, they would be me back with a note that says, God, I tried. They would bring me back with a note. Debbie says, is that a monsoon, Amanda, or are you just happy to see Jake? A monsoon, huh? There are things I could tell you, but the chat would catch on fire. Fire. Amy says, LOL, Debbie. Lady B says, I was duct taped with 3D camouflage tape when I was robbed years ago. The stupid dopehead said he wouldn't hurt me for love or money. He taped my wrist and threw my phone and keys out on the highway. Well, I hope that he was caught and thrown under the jail. 3D camouflage tape. What is 3D tape? You mean it had a mirage on it? April says, 8-Ball, is Aaron going to be abducted? And 8-Ball says, Kevin drinks a lot. I really need to adjust the 8-Ball.
Right, Debbie?
Amy says, I need to update that 8-Ball, Jake. I know. I was just saying that. Lady B says, all for $200 cash. I'll do a lot for $200 cash. I've sold pictures of my feet for that kind of money. Just kidding. I am a concealed carry. That will never happen again. Good, Lady B. You should always have a pistol. Now, that goes for the rest of you ladies, too. Put a pistol in your purse or in your bra or in your pants or something. Be armed. Because these guys out here have no respect anymore. And they don't know how to treat a lady. And if you run up on one of those guys and he wants to manhandle you, you need to let his brain out for some fresh air. And be happy about it. April says, ℂ𝕚𝕐𝕣𝕣𝕖, what? Amy says, ask again, April.
Rolling on floor, the 8-ball is talking about Kevin Cox drinking too much. That's too funny, April.
Sorry. I forgot that was in there. I'll fix it. And Sue says, 8-ball, will I abduct Aaron? 8-ball says, forget about it. Walter Davis says, Blue Velvet was a great movie with no plot. It was kind of a strange movie. I don't know if I'd go as far as to call it great. It was definitely a movie, and it was definitely strange, and a little bit sexy, and a little bit weird, and a little bit, what the hell is he doing with that oxygen mask? But Blue Velvet is a movie that you should watch for cinematic purposes. Lady B says, Amanda, we get tired of in the hot summer, I wear it up in the summer, high ponytail, like up top. Yeah, I can't do that. Mine is a straight down kind of thing. I just group it together and put a thing in it. Aaron says, 8-ball is savage. Yes. Well, when I invented it, it was pretty funny, but now it's out of date. Lady B says, ℂ𝕚𝕐𝕣𝕣𝕖, Jake.
8-ball, are the ladies going to take Aaron and do things to him?
8-ball says, you'll have to wait. Da 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 da.
Dun 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 dun.
Boom boom. Amy says, 8-ball, will Aaron get duct taped? And Sue says, Aaron, you're safe from me. 8-ball says, sure. April says, 8-ball, is Aaron going to be abducted? 8-ball says, nah, mate. No chance of that. He's quite all right with me. You never know what'll happen down under. It's the most dangerous animal on the planet. I'm going to poke it with a stick.
Leave old Steve alone.
Debbie says, 8-ball, does Aaron want to be abducted? 8-ball says, indubitably. Which is one step away from indefatigably or inconceivable. Walter says, High 8 was a great movie. I don't think I've seen that. I probably have seen it, but I don't recall it. Who was in it? High 8. April says, LOL, Debbie. Amy says, the 8-ball likes me. Yes, I do. Yes, it does. Sorry, my phone was blowing up. Lady B says, hugs Debbie. And Amanda says, 8-ball, does Aaron want to be abducted? 8-ball says, maybe. Smiley face with breasticles. Amy says, Debbie too. Sue says, 8-ball, am I pretty? 8-ball says, Most definitely. With a smiley face to boot. Amanda says, LOL.
Debbie.
Debbie ate. Debbie ate what?
It was supposed to be a smiley face. Just my finger hit the 8 instead of the smiley face.
Well, that clears it up. Aaron says, I actually have been taped up for school. What was your school doing to you, Aaron? And Sue says, woohoo, fun for the whole class. Aaron says, we have like a contest in high school. Had like. John says, the woman of Greystoke. The woman in Greystoke was Andy McDowell. Andy McDowell. You're right. Legend of Greystoke. Legend of Greystoke. Yep. You are correct. I don't know. I must be thinking about, there's another movie that had Bo Derek in it. I can't think of what it was now. But it was about the jungle. Lady B says, Jake, snack, haha. And Lady B says, poll, Amanda.
LOL, lady.
Jake, snack, poll, Amanda. A pole snack. Sounds fun. Lady B says, Amanda says,
LOL, lady.
Lady B says, Walter, haha. Aaron says, LOL, collapsible pole, cold water. Debbie says, my family thinks my ultimate goal is to drain the hot water tank when I shower. Well, you should. Might as well get it while the getting's good, right? I want a hot shower. I don't want to take a cold shower. I'll even wait until late at night so that everybody else is long done so that I can have all the hot water. April says, at least 20 to 30 for me. I like to soak and take my time. Yeah, I don't soak. I get in and get out, but I wash.
April moves into the shower.
Aaron says, thank you guys for making me laugh. Our pleasure. I know you weren't talking to me, but I'm answering for him. And Sue says, men are slow. Speak for yourself, young lady. I'm pretty quick. April says, if I'm in a hurry, then 15 minutes. And Sue says, 8-ball, is Jake good looking? Nope. But I'm really cool. Oh, I see you forgot the 8. Aaron says, Sue, we supposed to be slower than you. It means we did it right. Right on. John says, takes me an hour to shower. Hour to shower. It's our shower time. It's the shower hour. Sue says, is Jake good looking 8-ball? And 8-ball says, no. Sorry. I am not a handsome man, but I am hung like a mule. A tiny mule, but a mule nonetheless. 8-ball is savage, says Sue. And Aaron says, told you. Walter Davis says, is Mountain still alive? I don't know who Mountain is. I'm trying to place it. I don't know anybody nicknamed Mountain. Aaron says, 8-ball is savage, Sue. And Sue says, 8-ball, are you mean? 8-ball says, for sure.
LOL, Sue.
Sue says, there you go. I made him that way. Aaron says, LOL, 8-ball, admits it. Walter says, Richie was lie 20. Richie Valance, Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, he was pretty young. I don't know how old he was, but he was pretty young. But they still rope him into that 27 club. Patsy wasn't on the plane with Buddy and them. Who was it? There was some girl on there then. I'm pretty sure they were on the plane together, but I might be wrong about that. But there were 3 people that died in that plane crash anyway. And I might be conflating the two. I do that from time to time. 2 different things happened, and I put them together in my mind. That is possible. But there was a 3rd person on that plane, and it was a female. If it wasn't Patsy Cline, who was it? Walter says Richie's first hit was What's Her Name? I thought it was O'Donna. What does Richie was a lie mean? Richie was like 20 is what he meant to write. And he's talking about Richie Valens, the La Bamba singer, and O'Donna. And I think O'Donna was his first hit. I could be wrong about that, but that's the first one I remember anyway. Donna. Yep. Oh, that's what you meant by what's her name? What's her name? Gotcha. I see what you're saying now. Yep, it was O'Donna. Amy says Patsy Cline died recently, I think. No, she died a long time ago. Her plane crashed into a mountainside, from what I understand. I might be wrong about that, but she died a long time ago. April says she passed away in the 60s, and she was in her 30s. Amy says, I'm wrong. I'm thinking of someone else. Aaron says Richie's first hit was Come On, Let's Go. Was it? And Walter says Patsy Cline wasn't on the plane with Richie Valens and Big Bopper and Buddy Holly. Okay. I might have that conflated with something else. April says she was very young and it was so sad and I loved singing her songs. She was so lovely. Her voice, wow. And like Elvis, she's truly missed also. She did have a unique voice. That's for sure. And she was in a car wreck and they gave her plastic surgery and it made her look like a man. It really screwed her face up real bad. And there's only like 1 or 2 videos of her during that time. And it's very apparent that she's literally putting on a face. But that was a shame because she was beautiful in her early days. Excuse me. So if she wasn't if she wasn't in that plane, then how did she die? So that I get it right in my head. So that the next time I tell this story, I get it right. John says, I've got 1 phone, 2 projectors, DJ equipment, laptop, and computer. I have a laptop and a very powerful Mac computer that has all the bells and whistles, and a phone and a tablet, and that's it. And Linda Davis says, I love that song, Jake, DAC. And I played it just for you. I'm sorry my voice wasn't better. But at least I can do a little something tonight. I couldn't do that a couple days ago. I'm getting to the point now where I'm going in and out. I have some good days and some bad days, some hard moments and some easy ones. But I'm getting there. My chat jumped again. It jumped a lot. Hang on. Jesus.
$10.47.
10:47. Yep. Lady B says, Linda, I bet we have the same taste in songs. My genre varies drastically. My genre varies drastically. Yeah, I like all types of music. Sue says, 8-Ball, is tonight going to be a good night? 8-Ball says, mayhaps. Mayhaps. Could be. Amy says, my feet hurt. Mine too. Put them feet up. Put them puppies up. Sue says, 8-Ball, is Amy a good friend? 8-Ball says, that's a fact, Jack. Lady B says, Jake and Amanda, how did you two meet? Ice cream truck. That's all I'm going to say. Linda says, me too, lady. I spent half my day listening to all different kinds of music. It's like therapy. Music is like therapy. Amy says, oh, that's sweet, Susie. Walter says, Linda, is the magic 8-Ball still in your truck? You have the magic 8-Ball? All this time I thought it was on a website. April says, yes, I did too, and Alice Cooper believes in God and his loyal husband and friend. He does now. He didn't always. But yep, he's a Christian. Kind of weird to go to an Alice Cooper show and see the juxtaposition of him in drag, getting his head chopped off with blood flying everywhere, and then know that he's a Christian. But he gets it. He gets away with it. And his show has cleaned up a whole lot since he became a Christian. It was really gruesome before that. Linda Davis says, yes, Walter. She still has the magic 8-Ball. Amanda says, we met in the 90s. He used to drive an ice cream truck in my neighborhood, and we hit it off and got married. Abducted?
Yes. Yes.
And Lady B says, me too, Linda. I collect original vinyls from the 70s rock and other genres. Listening is good mood lifter. I agree. Amy says, Amanda can ghost write everything is bullshit for Jake. She probably will. She'll probably transcribe as I dictate. Sue says, 8-Ball, is Amanda crazy for having so many screens? 8-Ball says, forget about it. That kind of information that gets you whacked around here. I can't do a New York accent. Amy says, not anymore. I'm number 5. Number 5 what?
In the chat.
Number 5 in chat. Got it. Amanda says.
Right, Amy.
John says, gonna say goodnight, everyone. Much love, everybody. I'm getting ready for work. Thank you for being here, John. We love you, buddy, and I'm about ready to go to bed myself. So enjoy your day at work. Have a good one, my friend.
Night Nugget.
Sue says, good night, John. Lady B says, sleep well, John. Linda says, Lady B, sometimes a song can hit hard, and I can have a good cry and start dancing in the kitchen. I really wish I could sing to you guys. I can't wait till my voice comes back around, if it ever does, because I got some bangers that will make you guys tear up. And I just can't deliver them right now. But I'm thinking about it in my heart. Lady B says, a.k.a. Nugget. Linda says, good night, John, heart. April says, John, sweet dreams, God bless. 2 hearts and a smiley face with herpes. Walter says, good night, John. Lady B says, I am guilty of that too, Linda, especially my gospel songs. And Sue says, now I'm number 2. April says, amen, Lady and Linda. Prayers. Smiley face with herpes. April says, woohoo. Lady B says, love you, April. Smiley face with hearty eyes. And Sue says, April is number 3. April says, love you, lady. 2 hearts in a circle. Lady B says, y'all have a problem. I crave chips at night or grapes. It's bad. Any advice? Yes. Eat grapes or chips. Problem solved. You're welcome. Sue says, 8-ball, am I insane? And 8-ball says, nah, mate. You crikey. You bloomin' onion. April says, I miss hearing you sing and play, Jake. I miss doing it, April. Believe me, I would give everything I had to have my voice back. It left too fast. Linda says, don't ask Amanda. She's addicted to mints. Yeah, she goes through 2 pounds of peppermints every 3 days.
I do not. I go through 3 pounds of peppermints in 2 weeks.
Every 3 days.
2 weeks.
If I get up to go to the bathroom, I have to wade knee deep in paper wrapper. And step over hunks of old husks of mints piling up in the corner and shit. Tell me. I think I saw a dead body in there last week. It might have been the mailman. Got lost in the riffraff and never found his way out. She is a mint junkie. Walter says, lady, try replacing with drugs or alcohol or stick chips. April says, you should play your song. Please, 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 please. Well, since you asked, here's just for you, lady. April. Moonlit skies and fireworks. People laugh, people flirt all night long. But I just stay. So I drove down to the local bar where people come in their fancy cars to play their games. But I just stare. Then I saw you sitting there, all alone in that empty chair right next to you. I fell in love. Oh, baby. You looked down and you took my hand. You said, boy, I hope you understand that I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything with just one kiss. And I don't care what you say. at that bar where we first met. You smiled at me and my palms got wet, and you just looked away. But I just stayed. You said, been in love and it never works. I always end up getting hurt, and I ain't doing that no more. There ain't no way. Oh no, 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 no. You stood up to say goodbye, grabbed your hand with a tear in my eye, and I just walked away. But you just stayed. But you looked down and you took my hand and said, boy, I hope you understand that I'm not a girl that needs a man. I got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, you'd just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything but just one kiss, and I don't care what you say. I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, you take my breath away. All right, then. That's just for you guys. A little bit of Jake Johnson for you. Coming at you live from WKRP in Grifton, North Carolina. Aaron says, Lady B, find out what vitamin or minerals are in those chips or grapes that your body is craving and replace it with a vitamin. That'll fix it. And Sue says, I like eating frozen grapes. And Amy says, dank white lesbian. April says, be safe, Amy. Prayers. And Linda says, be safe, Amy. And Sue says, drunk while lifting. I like it. Disposable whale lung. April says, LOL, I remember Jake and your spandex. Kind of hard to forget, ain't it, honey? Like looking at a bulldog under a tarp. Amy says, DWL, Dweezil Wrestler Limited. Or driving while listening. Sue says, Jake, you look like Ozzy with your hair down. Thank you. Or should I say, Sue? Amy says, I don't drink or do drugs. It's bad for me. And it's traumatic. True. Those things are true. I don't drink or do drugs either. Sometimes they do me, though. Aaron says, duck weave, left hook. I like it. That's a good one. Lady B says, nice hair, Jake. Thank you, Lady B. I appreciate you. Sue says, drink white liquid. You got it. And Debbie says, Amy is drooling while looking nice. Or dribbling while lusting. April says, ha ha. April's over there having fantasies about me and my spandex when I was a teenager.
I'm going to leave the GWL alone.
Damn, what luck. That one's it. That's the winner. Aaron says, LOL, Debbie wins. Amy says, started my car. Crazy Train is playing on the radio. Yep, that's a good one. 50 Shades of Sue. Oh, Lady B. April says, I love all music back in the day. Me too. This new stuff, though, sucks. John H. says, baklava is good, too. Oh, sorry, wrong job. And baklava. Oak leaves and honey. That's what it tastes like anyway. My voice is getting weak. Aaron says, me too, April. And Sue says, 8-ball, am I kinky? 8-ball says, forget about it. And Walter says, doo-wop was started in the subway sound in New York City. Just kids singing with the echo. Yeah, that's what quartet means. Sha-na-na-na-na-na, says Linda. Or the ever quaint sha-la-la-la-la-la. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-ti-da. Aaron says, like the Temptations. April says, oh yeah, my favorite group, the Temptations. And Aaron says, I used to walk past Boys to Men in the subway in Chicago. Nice. It must have been a journey. If it took that long. That's a time joke. You'll get it in a minute. Amanda says, my favorite song of theirs was The End of the Road, Aaron. If you never see tomorrow. That's my favorite. I can't sing it right now, though. Walter says, Young Rascals, Mustang Sally blues rhythm, but a rock band. I hear you. Aaron says, The End of the Road was playing at my mom's goodbye. And Amanda says,
Oh, Aaron, that's a great song.
Linda says, my son and I used to sing, build me up, buttercup, don't break my heart. Sue says, what about country rap music? I sit back and think about them good old days, the way we were born in our southern ways, and we like cornbread and biscuits. If it's broke around here, we fix it. I can take y'all where you need to go, down to my hut, back in them woods. We do it different around here, that's right, but we sure do it good, and we do it all night. If you really want to know how it feels to get off trucks, tires, four wheels, jump on in, tell your friends, take you down where the road ends, chilling on a dirt road. I ain't got the voice to do it, but yeah, I do a little country rap too. Right now, my voice is clamping down on me and I can hardly talk. Might have to call it a night. We'll see. If it loosens up, I'll keep going. Walter says, Allman Brothers. Allman Brothers, last Southern rock band. Nope. Sorry. There's been a few since then. Three Doors Down is a more recent Southern rock band. They're a little bit more grunge, but they're still in the Southern rock category. And also, there's a few other ones, too. But they were a Southern rock band, but not the last one. April says, I saw New Kids on the Block when I was 13 in Orlando, Florida. When Mark Wahlberg was in the group. I think he's my age now. Pretty close. Linda says, still to this day, if that song comes on, we give each other the look and start singing. Nice. The look. Lady B says, Sue, I used to eat frozen grapes, but my teeth have gotten sensitive. Yeah, I don't like eating frozen things. Aaron says, Linda, I like that one. And Frankie Lineman. April says, you have beautiful hair, Amanda. Heart. Oh, that's sweet. 1 second. Say something.
Thank you, April. So do you. Say something. Just throws it over to me.
Me too. I got beautiful hair too. Aaron says, Sue, look up Bubba Sparks. You would like him. Definitely. Amanda says, thank you, April. So do you. April says, LOL, freak flag. Still thinking about them spandex, huh? Like looking at a midget in a parachute.
Dress it up in G.I. Joe clothes.
Get a Mr. Potato Head. It's puppy show stuff. Make it look like somebody you know. Mr. Potato Head.
You can't make boots out of a llama. It'll spit at you.
Lady B says, ice cream truck. That's cool. Well, it was. Yeah. Especially if we were up on the freezer. What? Aaron says, April, step by step. Oh, yeah. Sue says, wet and dirty. And also 3 flavors. Amanda says, yes, you say it.
Yes, lady. I would sit and wait to hear Do Your Ears Hang Low song coming from the truck. And then I'd walk out to see him. And then he'd forget about the rest of his route.
Walter says, there was a girl that grew up at an outhouse. I saw her and her friends walking and slowed down, opened the window, and asked if they wanted candy. I think that's how most porn movies start off. And Linda says, April, I took my boss's kids to see New Kids. Yep, they were a hot band in the old days. Walter says Sammy started laughing and walked over to the car. Her friends all freaked out. Jake had that cream pop, says Aaron. And an ice cream sandwich. And Lady B says, yes, Jake, the cops found him in his bathroom miles away with needles swaying in his arm. Who? I missed one, I guess. I don't know who you're talking about. Do you know?
No, I'm not sure.
The cops found him in his bathroom. Who's he?
I don't know.
Amanda says, LOL Aaron. And April says, LOL Amanda. And Lady B says, ladies, take tactile course. Yes, always know how to defend yourself. That's a good rule of thumb. Men are stronger and faster and meaner, and you don't stand a chance. I don't care how tough you are. Get a pistol and know how to use it. Damn the rape whistle. Damn the little spray, whatever that nonsense is. Get you a little 45 and put it in your purse. That'll fix it. Linda says, Walter got me a boob gun a few years ago. Nice. As you should be armed. In this day and age, people are doing crazy, crazy things out there, and they don't have any concern for your well-being whatsoever. And they don't have a moral compass that guides them anymore. So they're liable to do anything. Be sure you are protected out there in the world, ladies. Don't rely on chivalry because it's dead. John says, chains, Aaron. Sue says, I had a gut stalking me in a truck while on foot, and I went into Ross. The guy waited outside for me. I told an employee who called the cops, and he left as soon as they pulled up, and the cops got the info about him. Good. About the car, and then followed me back home. Good. Yeah, you can't be too careful out there, man. People are crazy. And I worry about you ladies. I wish I was able to protect all of you, but I'm just one guy in North Carolina. But I would feel better knowing you guys had some protection. Aaron says, what's a boob gun? It's a little gun that fits right here. Or right here. Or right here. Or it's like the fembots. Walter says, and she's a great shot and has dogs. Yeah, it wouldn't hurt to go, if you're not familiar with a gun, to go to a course and shoot. Get some practice in. Loading and reloading, that sort of thing. Know where your ammo's at. Know how to get a bullet in there quickly. Change a clip, Practice drawing and shooting. Always practice with the intention of shooting, because you don't want to second guess that. If you're in that position, you want to follow through. Bang. So always practice with the shot in mind. Bang. Amanda says,
the one that fits in your bra, Aaron.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm having like a little asthma attack here. I'll get over it in a minute.
Aaron says, oh, that's a titty pistol.
The titty pistol. You got it. And Linda says, Aaron, I can hide it in my bra. It's kind of busty. I'm kind of busty.
Aaron says, mini missile.
Gonna bust a move.
Mm-hmm.
Eyes up here, mister.
She's gonna pop him and then give him a titty to suck on and make him feel better.
Watch your mouth now. Mini missile. April says, come on, LOL. Poke it with a stick. Oh, good Lord. Let out. Amanda says,
My chat jump.
yeah, Aaron, a 22, a 38, a 380. Little gun. Derringer. Anything that you can conceal and easily carry around. Like a boot gun or a belt buckle gun or a back pocket pistol. Walter says, Linda has pistols that hide in her bra and semi-auto rifles. Right on. Good for keeping her armed. I know that guns are not a desirable outcome in life, and everybody ain't into guns. But in this day and time, the way people are and the way things are happening in this world, I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. Aaron says, LOL, Linda. Say, let me show you something. And the guy walks up talking to God, or wakes up talking to God. Right. Lady B says, Aaron, 8-Ball says to learn your safe word. And Linda says, LOL, Aaron. Aaron says, long nose 380 is nice. I have a 32 from World War I. Or 2. Whatever. It's a 1939. Whatever that was. Is that 1 or 2? Anyway, it's a Smith & Wesson. And it is not like the 32s of today. I've shot a 32 that's modern. The one that I got will put a hole in you like this. And it ain't joking. It's the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life, too. You don't want to shoot it twice. It'll make your head ring. It's about maybe that big. Right in the palm of your hand. That's my favorite gun. Sue says, something is on fire outside. I wonder if it's a homeless fire. Well, they wouldn't have much to lose. Anyway. Sorry. Linda says, my dogs don't let anyone in my room when I'm in it. Not even my kids. LOL, they are very protective. Good. A good dog is hard to beat. The worst thing you got is one of those dogs that'll lick them and help them carry your stuff out while they're robbing you. I'm alive. Lady B says, the stalkers love short white women. Well, give them something not to love. Give them the fear of God. Stand your ground. And make sure you're still standing when the ground is done. April says, ha ha. And Walter says, my sister had a stalker in D.C. back in the 80s. Cops did nothing. I visited and put a gun to his head, and he stopped talking to my sister. Funny how shit works. Well, even stalkers have self-preservation in mind. And if you give them an opportunity to see where this is going to go, they will change their mind. April says, I am slow, I admit it. Aaron says, sometimes you got to do research, Walter. Some people only understand that. Right. You're sure right about that. Some people only understand violence, which is why you can't be opposed to it, knowing that you're going to encounter people that's the only language they speak. I would love to be anti-gun. I would love to be anti-violent. I would love not to even think about those things, not even have them in my house, other than for hunting or whatever. But realistically speaking, There are people out there that would not think twice about shredding me to bits. And I'm not about to let that happen because I want to survive. So, you do what you got to do. Walter says, my sister is now the biggest asshole I know. Maybe should have let it play out. No, you did the right thing. Always err on the side of protecting the ladies. That's why God put you here. If no other reason, that is a job that befall all men. Real men protect ladies, period. And children. Ladies and children, that's our job. April says lots of changes, and it's depressing sometimes. Well, the world's coming to an end. Things are wrapping up and escalating. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Believe that. Aaron says, Walter. And Walter says, Mountain sang Mississippi Queen. Okay. And Lady B says, I like wearing short skirts in the summer and holster my pistol on my inner thigh. Safety measures. Very nice. Aaron says, April, you got this. Yes, you do. Lady B says, Walter, laughing hard. Aaron says, that sounds like a lucky pistol. Or the person who discovers it might be lucky. Or very unlucky, one or the other. April says, thanks, Aaron, love, heart. Aaron says, April, don't make me get Jake's ice cream truck. Well, that thing is long gone in the past. One of those old days type things. I hadn't driven an ice cream truck in 25 years, 30 years, something like that. That was one of the many jobs I had as a teenager. And Lady B says, Aaron, smiley, smiley. Aaron says, Amanda, did you show the, did I show you the cartoon me? Not yet.
No.
I have a cartoon me. Nah, that's when you know you've made it, when you have a cartoon. And then my chat jumped. What's the number?
11:25.
Every time I get close to the bottom, it jumps by half.
Yeah.
I think I'm nowhere near the bottom, am I?
You're about 30 minutes or so behind.
I may have to give up on you guys. It's already midnight, and my voice is cracking hard.
Well, just scroll through and read the main things and not what we're talking back and forth to each other.
Yeah, I might do that.
That way you can see it all and still get the points out.
April asks, was Cowboy Copas Randy Hughes Hawshaw Hawkins? I have no idea. And Walter says, I think Patsy died of cancer. I think she was in a wreck. Lady B says, Aaron, ice cream truck. The image over ice cream sandwiches or orange push-ups. You have no idea. I was smitten big time. And she was in a plane crash, Patsy Cline. Just not the one I was thinking of. They found part of her torso in a tree. Ooh, gross. Aaron says, Lady B, I think you're right. And Sue says, I accidentally put my phone in the refrigerator just now. I couldn't find it and heard Jake. I told you I was cool. Read that.
Patsy Cline thing?
Yep.
Cline died at age 30 in a plane crash near Camden, Tennessee in 1963. Became a musical icon in the decades following her death. In 1973, she became the first solo woman performer to be elected into the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville, Tennessee.
I had dinner with her late husband one time at the occasion of meeting him. Charlie Dick was his name, and guess what he does for a living? He sells Patsy Cline memorabilia. Lady B says, Sue, I did it yesterday. I was getting the buttermilk out to make cornbread, and I seen my phone in there hours later. It was cold. Wow. And Sue says, I'm eating chocolate-covered coconuts. And then Amanda says,
on March 5th, 1963, the American country music performers Patsy Cline, born Virginia Patterson Hensley, Harold Franklin, Hoshake Hawkins, Lloyd Etzel, Cowboy Copus, and Pilot Ramsey, Doris Randy Hughes.
there you go.
Those were the people that were on her plane when it crashed.
Aaron says, that's a lot of ice cream, Lady B. So it was a plane crash full of musicians, but it wasn't the same plane. It's a different plane, same time.
Right. The Patsy's Cline plane went down for some type of prop failure.
One of them crashed into the side of a mountain, but I don't remember which one. Must have been the Big Bopper one. Lady B says, I used to put sample liquor bottles, my keys and debit card in your bra at times, said that to Linda. And Sue says, why is it called Untethered? The show? Because I'm untethered. I'm not connected to any religion. That's why. Untethered from reality, from religion, from society, from rules. I'm a little wild and crazy guy. Aaron says, chocolate coconut? Yeah. April says, thanks, Amanda, for putting that together, love.
You're welcome, April. Sue, because we're not tethered to any religion.
And Lady B says, typo, Linda, my bra. That was in the 80s. No debit card, cash, or checkbook. And Sue says, 8 Ball, will we get to bed at a decent time tonight? 8 Ball says, Little Mule. No, not tonight. Amanda says, oh, Sue, you got Jake's little mule. 5 o'clock's coming like a jail on wheels, says Walter. Huh. Lady B says, no, Jake, lamau, I crave and eat them. I don't want to snack at night. I hear you. And Walter says, it's okay. I only sleep 2 hours a night. April says, yay, thanks, Jake. My pleasure. I hope you enjoyed it. The song. And Sue says, easy like Sunday morning. Nice. The people watching song. The people watching song. You're right, Walter. Lady B says, no drugs or alcohol. Nope. I have never done drugs. I am a square like that. A cold with a meal at times. A cold beer with a meal at times. Ain't nothing wrong with a beer. It is alcohol, though. Sue says it should say my name. My. It can. It wouldn't rhyme, but it could. Aaron says, me seeing duct tape going away. Oh, no, 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 no. Lady B says, I get high on Jesus and motorcycle riding when I'm physically up to it. And I hear you there. Aaron says, April, you get the pole ready. Y'all got to go fishing. Lady B says, thinking about ice cream trucks. And Jake, nice music. Thank you. Aaron says, I have ice cream. I'm going to get some. I have one ice cream sandwich left. I might eat it later. Probably feel good on my throat. All right, you take over reading for a little while.
I bet April, LOL. April says, aha, Jake. Walter says, sometime I have got to drive down to South Florida to visit my uncle. I would love to stop and meet everyone between New Jersey and South Florida. That'd be fun. Sue says, 8-ball, am I boring? 8-ball
Never.
says, no. April says, LOL. April says, you are definitely not biting, love.
Definitely not biting.
Yeah.
Boring.
Oh, boring. Okay. Lady says, doggone it. Open a bag of Sun Chips.
Got to get them when you can get them.
Right? Aaron says, the cheese Sun Chips are my jam. Yes, those are definitely good, Aaron. Sue says, don't be shy. Kiss the girl.
Kiss the girl. I like it.
Yeah.
I kissed the girl and I liked it.
Lady says, Aaron, French onion and grain are my favorite Sun Chips. Aaron says, those are the other good ones. I'll trade you ice cream for chips. Amy says, good night, y'all. I made it home safely. I'm exhausted. See you Friday night.
I'll see you Friday night.
Night, Amy. Much love. Sue says, awesome. Walter says, good night, Amy. Linda says, good night, Amy. Aaron says, you got to come. Oh, lady says, Aaron, you got to come visit the South when it cools off. Why, Sonny, soon we are all seriously planning up to meet. We could all meet halfway. Who all's in?
I'm in, and he's in the South. He's in Florida.
She knows that now. Sue says, night, Amy. April says, much love, Amy. See you Friday. Sweet dreams, and God bless.
I would love to get everybody together and meet up, but it would have to be a bigger number of people to be logistically possible. Because it would be very expensive. Because we'd have to put everybody up, and everybody'd have to drive there or fly there, and it would be expensive. So we'd have to have 100 people to get together, 50 at least.
We do it when it cools off. We can find a camping ground and all go to a camping ground and camp out for the weekend or something.
We could do that. If we could get 40 or 50 people, we could rent a campground or some kind of a motel.
Airbnb.
I'm sorry, guys. My voice is clamping down on me pretty hard. I'm going to try to soldier through.
Lady B says, typo, why don't we? Aaron says, you're not far, Lady B. Lady B says, I love you, Amy. Sue says, I like 3 Doors Down.
I do too. I play that song Kryptonite. That's one of my favorite ones of theirs.
Lady B says, play more music, Jake. Don't leave. He's got to work tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
Miss Linda says, I like them too, Sue. Walter says Casey Donahue is Southern rock, but not original Southern rock.
Right, right. I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
But look into Shooter Jennings if you don't know who that is. That's worth the look.
Lady B says, Aaron, where are you again? Sue,
In Florida.
Florida. He's a Floridian. Sue says, play something by the Florida Georgia line. Yeah, right. Lady says, let's all plan a meetup. Let's do it, everybody.
Well, we'll start working on it. We need to get about 40 people together, so let's start making a list.
Get your notebook out there, lady.
Once we get the number of people, if we can at least get 30, we'll plan it, and we'll do it. That would be fun. I could play music, bring the band down or something.
Yeah, that's why I said a campground. You get around a campfire, s'mores and music, and kick back sharing stories.
I might have to hire a singer, but we'll get it done.
I imagine enough of us there, we could all sing together. Sue says, let your freak flag fly.
Lady B wants everybody to say where they live. Well, some people don't want to give that information out, and that's okay if they don't. But if you do, I live in North Carolina.
Yep, North Carolina, obviously. Sue says, Lady B, I live in Vegas. Linda says, lady, I can't drive that far, so someone stop and pick me up on the way.
If we plan to do it, I'll make sure you get there.
Debbie says, Missouri Oaks. Walter says, I got a boat in Jersey at a farm in Jersey, a house in Pennsylvania. Everybody is welcome there. Lady says, we can meet in Georgia.
I'm from Georgia.
Send Jake to his backyard.
Georgia boy, born and bred. I got kaolin in my veins and red clay in my DNA.
Lady B says, nope. Sue said, Amanda, snop hogging number 1. Oh, stop hogging number 1. What? Aaron says, Lady B, I'm a Floridian.
Floridian. I like that one.
Lady B says, Amanda, now it's do your boobs hang low, right? LOL.
I ain't no phony, dude. I'm the real thing, baby. Just like Rob Zombie, just like Slim Shady. I was born white trash and just got bigger.
Lady B says, Aaron's in the closet.
No.
That's the LOL. Not really, lady.
He's all man.
Lady says, 3D tape, Jake, remember?
Oh, the brand 3D. Yes.
I thought it was 3M.
Might be 3M. I was thinking like 3-dimensional tape. I was like, what is that?
Lady said, Amanda, laughy faces. I said, yes, lady. Aaron, would you come up through Atlanta or Mobile?
Atlanta.
Yeah. Walter says, Sue, I'll be there. Don't Aaron would come up through Mobile. He's on 95, I think. No, he's on 75 side.
Well, where are you going?
Alabama. Well, Georgia. If everybody's going to Atlanta or somewhere in Georgia.
Yeah, he wouldn't go through Mobile.
No.
That's in the Panhandle.
Yeah, he's on 75 side. Let's see. Walter says, Sue, I'll be there. Walter says, lady, I'll get there. How is Hurricane Aaron doing? It's out there going the opposite direction.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be bothered with that one.
It made a U-turn. Las Vegas is a big seeing traffic spot.
Sex trafficking.
Oh. Sex trafficking spot.
Nice.
There's even signs on the stalls in the public restrooms with numbers to call for help.
Cool.
Aaron says,
For a good time, call.
right.
For a good time, call ICE.
Mm-hmm. Aaron says Atlanta's about 12 hours from him. Let's all meet up. Aaron, What about work?
Well, we ain't got that far yet. Let's get a list together first.
Right.
Let's all just agree to do it first. Then we'll plan a day or a weekend or something and have a retreat. I'll take care of all of the entertainment and food and all that stuff. I'll get together a pig or something.
Lady said, Amanda, would you and Jake meet in Georgia? Sue says, I'm dozing off. I'm going to bed now. Good night. Good night, Sue.
Good night, Sue.
I don't see why not, lady. Lady says, I sleep with my Taurus. It's loaded.
Right on. Me
and
too.
it will spit on you. Linda says, night, Sue. Walter says, I got a 25, hit a coyote at 50 yards. It was a bad day for the coyote.
Oh, yeah.
Let's plan it when it's cooler. Let's all be looking for a place we can rent with several rooms. Aaron says, I'm a Taurus.
Mm-hmm. I'm a thesaurus.
I'm going to leave that one alone,
That's
too.
a dinosaur that likes to read.
Walter says, I am so glad statutes of limitation has ended so I can talk about stuff.
What do you want to talk about?
Lady B said, like a group tenancy or shared rental. I said, like an Airbnb.
Yeah, we'll figure all that out. But first, let's figure out who's going to be there. There ain't no point in doing it if only 3 people show up, you know. Again, it's going to be very expensive, so.
Walter says, Aaron, zodiac signs are not biblical. Walter says, good night, Sue. Aaron says, this night a Bible night, Walter. And then lady comes in and says, y'all pray for my sweet friend Stacy. She is in the hospital. She has pancreatitis and a large kidney stone. She just sent a text saying she's getting a heart catheter tomorrow. Jeez.
Father, we ask that you put your hand on their friend. Stacy, was it?
Yes.
We ask that you guide her through her ordeal, and if there's any way that you can be with her and heal her from it, we ask that you do that, Father, but your will be done always. In your Son, Jesus Christ's precious name we pray. Look over us all, Father. Amen.
Amen.
Hope that helps.
Prayers for her, lady. Nothing about the stars are a sin. In fact, wise men followed one. Oh, hold on, my chat jumped.
Well, those wise men were not Christian, but they were curious, and that's why they showed up. That being said, the Bible does tell you to stay away from astrology, not astronomy, astrology, which means to try to tell the future from the stars. You're not supposed to do that. There's nothing wrong with looking at the stars, though, and nothing wrong with science.
Watchler said, regardless of what night it is, zodiac, nomenclature, closure. I can't say it. Nomenclature.
Necromancer.
Is that necromancer? Fortune tellers are not a good thing.
Correct.
Aaron says, I don't care. Lady says, good night, everybody. Love y'all bushels in a peck.
Love you.
Night, Lady B.
That's it for me too, guys. I got to get out of here. I'm losing it bad. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. Be better Friday. God bless you all. Have a great night. Be nice. Thanks for watching.
Good night, y'all.